Chapter 1801. So you're saying that we'll be trapped as soon as we enter? Yi Xian suddenly reacted. Our team is ready. Although it's extremely dangerous to enter the space-time relic, there's nothing we can do in the immortal world. Why don't we give it our all? Wu Hou said. She and Emperor Qing were the only two immortal emperors in the Four Realms. They couldn't advance any further and could only survive. Therefore they made the decision to enter the space-time relic. Yi Xian glanced around and found that Emperor Qing and Wu Hou had brought a lot of people. There were more than 50 people in total. Including the 10 from Long Yu, there were more than 60 people. Among them, Yi Xian sensed a familiar feeling. It came from 3 9th-grade immortal venerables because the immortal heart in their bodies was the Xianxia immortal heart. These 3 people were the 3 palace masters of the Heavenly Fire Palace. Because they also had the Xianxia immortal heart, they also sensed the qi of Yi Xian. However, they didn't dare to say anything now. Although Yi Xian was only a 2nd-grade immortal venerable, which was 7 realms lower than them, the strength of Old Tree and the others was enough to make Emperor Qing fear them. Since we've made the decision, let's enter together. If we can still stay together, we can take care of each other. Emperor Qing said slowly. All right. Let's enter. Those ancestors might not have died in there, but passed through the space-time relic and went to a new world. Everyone seemed to be in high spirits. This group of people stood at the peak of the 4 realms. The weakest among them was an 8th-grade immortal venerable. It would be difficult for them to advance further in this place. However, if they entered a higher-level spatial continent, their advancement speed would definitely be faster than in the immortal world. After pondering for a moment, everyone decided to enter. However, at this moment, Yi Xian suddenly said, Wait, let my people explore the way first. Everyone couldn't help but stop when they heard this. Then, Yi Xian summoned Old Tree and Azura Ghost Venerable. Old Tree, Ribs, go in and take a look, Yi Xian said to the 2 of them. It was unknown how dangerous this space-time ruin was, but just in case, Yi Xian still sent the undying Old Tree and Ghost Lord Azura as cannon fodder. All right. The Old Tree and Ghost Lord Azura nodded and entered the space-time relic one after another. However, as soon as the 2 of them passed through the door, Yi Xian quickly transmitted a message to them. However, there was no response. How strange. I can't transmit my voice. Yi Xian was extremely shocked. One had to know that this was a voice transmission between the owner, and this was the first time it had failed. However, Yi Xian had another idea. I'll go in and take a look. After Yi Xian finished speaking, he directly jumped in. When he passed through the door, he found himself in front of the 2nd door. Old Tree, Ribs, are you there? At that moment, Yi Xian continued to transmit his voice, but he still did not get a response. In desperation, he could only put on the mystic god armor and go in to explore. The Old Tree and Ghost Lord Azura were only missing. As there was no notification, the 2 of them should still be alive. However, when Yi Xian was about to summon Luo to fight alongside him, he was shocked to find that Luo could not be summoned. What's going on? I can't summon Luo from the planting space. Not only that, but the other immortal beasts are also the same. Yi Xian opened his eyes wide, not understanding what was happening to him. After he checked, he found that there was a skill that could not be used. Space-time reversal. Hiss. The space-time reversal skill could not be used. What was going on? Yi Xian's original plan was to explore by himself. If anything happened, he would use the space-time reversal skill to return to the entrance of the space-time ruin. Unexpectedly, the space-time reversal skill could not be used in the space-time ruin. This was a tragedy. Tragedy. This is really a tragedy. If I can't use the space-time reversal skill, my 3 doppelgangers will be destroyed. That will be the end of me. Yi Xian thought to himself. No. If his 3 doppelgangers were destroyed, he would not be counted in the space-time ruin. When that happened, his 4th doppelganger in the mortal domain might be able to use the space-time reversal skill. However, he did not dare to guarantee that. Hence, he had to be careful and treat the space-time reversal skill as if it could not be used. Although he had 3 devour points and could revive his 3 doppelgangers, devour points were not so easily obtained. He had to save as much as he could. Luckily, I can summon Wei Zhentian. Thinking of this, Yi Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Wei Zhentian was a 6th-grade immortal master. If he transformed into the mystic god armor, even the Lotus Emperor would not be able to break through it. Ding! Host has triggered a random mission to break through the space-time ruin. Completion reward: Space-time bloodline evolution skill once. At this time, the system suddenly gave a notification. The reward this time was very generous. It was actually an evolution skill for the space-time bloodline. Under the space-time bloodline, there were a total of 2 paths of evolution. They were the time control and space control. If the time control skill was upgraded, the cooldown time of the space-time reversal skill would be shortened. At the same time, the time that one could reverse time would be extended. Furthermore, the flow of time in the planting space would also be increased. As for the space control skill, it would increase the effect of the extreme space shield, as well as the distance and number of teleportations. All in all, this reward was very good for Xianxia. However, this random mission still had a time limit. Xianxia had to break through the space-time ruin within 7 days. Originally, I wanted to stay in front of this door for a while and break through after my cultivation level had increased. However, it seems that there is no time for me now. Xianxia squinted his eyes slightly as he pondered in his heart. The time limit for the random mission was 7 days. Xianxia would need another 4 to 5 days before he could break through again. If he waited until he broke through again, he would only have 2 days left to break through. However, if he tried to break through now, it would be very dangerous. There was a risk that his 3 doppelgangers would die. After all, Luo and Patillon could not be summoned now. I don't care anymore. Break through. In the end, Xianxia made his decision. He had already ascended to the immortal realm and become a celestial supremacy. How could he be so timid? Go. Immediately, Xianxia put on the mystic god armor and walked towards the door. Boom! Before he could get close, the door opened automatically. Then, a series of crisp sounds could be heard. Kacha! 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 Xianxia hurriedly looked and realized that there was a row of mechanical arms in front of him. They were moving quickly and rhythmically. A mechanical maze? In an instant, Xianxia realized what was going on. Chapter 1802. Wei Zhentian is not a living creature, which is why I can summon him. If the old tree and Azura Ghost Venerable are still in the planting space, I don't think I can summon him. Xianxia thought for a while and decided to let Wei Zhentian explore the path first. Wei Zhentian transformed into a thin needle and chose the first path to enter. Through the shared vision, Xianxia could see clearly that there were mechanical arms along the way. Moreover, the path was long and not an ordinary person could pass through it. This maze of mechanisms extends in all directions. I don't know where the exit is. Xianxia had a headache. Although Wei Zhentian could deal with the mechanical arms, he still needed to do something before he could use the immortal grade devouring system to draw the map. Since he couldn't use the Eyes of the Void here, he could only wait for Wei Zhentian to find the exit, return, and re-enter the maze. This step took a long time, but it was only half a day. Then, Wei Zhentian spent another half day to return and turn back into the mystic divine armor and put it on Xianxia. Next, it was up to Xianxia to move on his own. If Xianxia, who was a second-grade immortal venerable, was on his own, he might not be able to pass through. Using the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change could temporarily raise Xianxia to a 5th-grade immortal venerable. However, the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change had a time limit. Once the time limit was up, Xianxia would fall back to a 2nd-grade immortal venerable. However, it was different after he put on the mystic divine armor. There doesn't seem to be a place to rest midway. After using the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change, I have to hurry up. When the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change is in cooldown, I can only be beaten up by these mechanical arms. Xianxia thought to himself. If there was a place to rest midway, it would be easier. However, there wasn't, so he could only be beaten up. This was considered a rest. With the mystic divine armor and the immortal phoenix bloodline, it shouldn't be a problem for Xianxia to withstand these attacks. After mentally preparing himself, Xianxia started to move. He took a big stride and rushed into the maze of mechanisms. After putting on the mystic divine battle armor and using the Heavenly Fire 3 mystic change, Xianxia was extremely fast. He easily avoided these obstacles and proceeded according to the immortal grade devouring system's map. However, the duration of the Skyfire 3 mysterious change passed very quickly, and Xianxia's speed slowed down. Bang! 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 Muffled sounds rang out as Yi Xian was smashed by the mechanical arm and bounced around like a rubber ball. Fortunately, the mystic divine battle armor was extremely tough. Coupled with the recovery speed of the immortal divine phoenix bloodline, Yi Xian managed to hold on. After some time, Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change. Third change. Yi Xian once again used the Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change and began to charge forward. After a few rounds, he finally left the maze. However, it was already 2 days later. In addition to the day when Wei Zhentian used it, it was 3 days. In these 2 days, Yi Xian did not know how many times he was beaten up. Fortunately, he had already left the maze of mechanisms. Even I had such a hard time passing through it. I'm afraid those grade 8 and grade 9 immortal supremacies would not be able to pass, right? Yi Xian thought to himself. However, he did not care so much. The life and death of those people had nothing to do with him. This path was chosen by the other party. Moreover, the other party might not have entered yet. After passing through the maze of mechanisms, Yi Xian sized up his new environment. It was very spacious, as if he was in a huge hall. There was only one mechanical puppet in front of him. Young man, defeat this mechanical puppet and you will pass the level. A voice entered Yi Xian's ears. Who's talking? Yi Xian asked in surprise. Young man, as long as you defeat it, you will be able to see me. Then you will know who I am. The voice rang out in the huge hall again. If that's the case, then destroy it. Yi Xian squinted his eyes slightly and said in his heart, System analysis. This puppet definitely had a flaw. With the immortal grade devouring system strength, it should not be a problem for it to detect the flaw. Gotcha. At this moment, the puppet began to move. Its speed was very fast, and it was at least of the immortal emperor grade. Yi Xian also recalled that the maze of mechanisms just now should be of the immortal emperor grade. However, it was better to deal with this problem first. Ding. Analysis successful. Before the puppet rushed over, the system gave a notification. This puppet's weak point was somewhere on its back. As long as it was hit hard, it could be defeated. Go. Yi Xian did not waste any time. He immediately took out the departing flame celestial sword and put on the mystic divine armor and rushed forward. Clang, clang, clang. Crisp sounds rang out in the huge hall one after another. Now that Yi Xian could not use the Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change, he could only rely on the mystic divine armor to fight this puppet. Of course, during the battle, he would always be the one getting beaten up. However, after the Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change cooled down, he immediately unleashed his full power. Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change. Third change. In an instant, Yi Xian's cultivation level rose from 2nd grade Immortal Venerable to 5th grade Immortal Venerable. Immediately after, he quickly used the Eye of Assassination to go to the puppet's back and stabbed it with his sword. Gotcha! This sword accurately pierced the puppet's weak point, without missing a beat. In the next moment, the puppet instantly disintegrated. Young man, you're not bad. Originally, I said it to be a battle between people of the same level. I didn't expect that you would dare to enter my ruins when you're not even an immortal emperor. You've really impressed me. The mysterious voice rang out. Senior, you flatter me. Yi Xian hurriedly cupped his fist and said, Keep this puppet. I purposely left that weak point. Otherwise, with your strength, you won't be able to defeat it. Following the meaning of this voice, Yi Xian hurriedly put away the puppet that had already disintegrated into pieces. He could tell that this was a good thing. Go through that door and you'll find me. Immediately, Yi Xian quickly stepped into the door in front of him. After he passed through, he saw a middle-aged man standing in front of him. Greetings, Senior. Yi Xian hurriedly said. The middle-aged man waved his hand and said, This ruin was built by me casually. However, I've left my life's unique skill here. You've already passed 2 tests. As long as you pass one more test, you'll be able to obtain my inheritance. Upon hearing this, Yi Xian's eyes lit up. Let me introduce myself first. I'm called Spiritual Heart Enlightened. I don't know if I'm still alive. This is just a remnant of my will. If you can obtain my inheritance, you can try to find me. Perhaps I'll accept you as my disciple. The middle-aged man said. Spiritual Heart Enlightened? Yi Xian's heart skipped a beat. Enlightened? What kind of title was that? If this middle-aged man was still an immortal emperor, he should call himself Immortal Emperor Xianxia. Chapter 1803. Before you, there were already quite a few people who failed. Those who failed were all trapped here by me. The longest one of them has been trapped here for several million years. After Spiritual Heart finished speaking, puppets walked out from behind him and said, "These puppets are all first-grade immortal emperors. You'll have to defeat 100 puppets in the third stage." 100? Yixian raised his eyebrows. He had defeated the previous puppet with the help of the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change. He was afraid that it would be impossible for him to challenge 100 puppets now. These puppets can only display the strength of a first-grade immortal emperor. If they unleash their full strength, they can even kill a 9th-grade immortal emperor easily. You just have to find their weaknesses one by one, and you'll be able to defeat them one by one. Spiritual Heart said. Junior understands. Yixian nodded slightly and said, "But Senior, can you let Junior rest for 2 days before I challenge them?" "Sure." Spiritual Heart nodded. What he didn't know was that Yixian would be able to break through to 3rd-grade Immortal Venerable in 2 days. At that time, he would use the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change to defeat the 100 puppets in one fell swoop. Then, Yixian began to rest. Ding! Host has broken through to 3rd-grade Immortal Venerable. Ding! Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian, Yanming Ghost Lord, and Sky-Breaking Ape God have broken through to 7th-grade Immortal Venerable. 2 days later, Yixian broke through to 7th-grade Immortal Venerable as expected. I see. You're on the verge of breaking through. Spiritual Heart couldn't help but sigh. But it doesn't matter. As long as you haven't reached the Immortal Emperor realm, the combat strength of these puppets won't change. Although he said so, the more Spiritual Heart looked at Yixian, the more he liked him. Even he hadn't seen many people who were able to fight across so many realms. Moreover, the geniuses he had seen all had strong backgrounds. They were able to defeat their opponents in terms of immortal techniques and equipment. Although Yixian was relying on the mysterious divine armor, his strength wasn't weak. Spiritual Heart could tell at a glance. Senior, I'm ready. Yixian said. Okay, then we'll start in 3 seconds. Taoist Spirit Heart nodded slightly. In fact, Yixian had already used the immortal grade devouring system to sweep through all 100 puppets in the past 2 days. Each of these 100 puppets had a different vital point. However, this was not a problem for Yixian. This time, he had to pass, otherwise, he would also be trapped here by Taoist Xianxia. Kacha! 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 3 seconds later, the 100 puppets began to move. One of them directly passed through Taoist Spirit Heart's projection and headed straight for Yixian. Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change. 3rd change. Yixian's eyes flickered. His cultivation base instantly rose to 6th-grade Immortal Venerable. Then, he turned into a ray of light and pounced towards the 100 puppets. His speed was very fast, even surpassing the speed of the puppets. With a thrust of the Life Fire Celestial Sword in his hand, he was able to destroy a puppet. 1, 2, 5, 10. The number of puppets rapidly decreased. Upon seeing this, Taoist Spirit Heart couldn't help but have a whole new level of respect for Yixian. Even an Immortal Emperor expert wouldn't be able to find the flaws in such a short time. These puppets weren't difficult to deal with. As long as one was a 2nd-grade Immortal Emperor, they would be able to avoid them. However, the most important thing was that it was very difficult to find their vital points. In the end, one would be exhausted to death. Very quickly, more than half of the puppets in the arena were disintegrated by Yixian. Yixian's Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change still had some time left, so it shouldn't be a problem for him to defeat the rest of the puppets in the remaining time. Sure enough, the remaining puppets weren't able to stop Yixian's footsteps at all. They were forcefully torn apart. Taoist Spirit Heart was slightly shocked. Not to mention Yixian's cultivation base. Even a person 1 or 2 realms higher than the puppets wouldn't be able to find the flaws in such a short time. Moreover, these puppets were under his control, so their combat strength was the same as the challengers. If the challenger was a 1st-grade Immortal Emperor, then these 100 puppets would have the combat strength of a 1st-grade Immortal Emperor. If the challenger was a 9th-grade Immortal Emperor, then they would have the combat strength of a 9th-grade Immortal Emperor. However, Yi Xian had crossed several realms and passed this test. His aptitude was enough to show. Good, very good. Young man, you passed the third test. Taoist Spirit Heart nodded with satisfaction. Hearing this, Yi Xian couldn't help but slightly raise the corner of his mouth. It seemed that he could pass through this space-time ruin. Moreover, he could also obtain the inheritance of Taoist Spirit Heart. It was really good. Before he could react, Taoist Spirit Heart waved his hand, and then words appeared in the air. Ding! Host has discovered the 100 machine drill. Do you want to copy it? Yes. Ding! Host has successfully copied it. Do you want to learn it now? Yes. Although he didn't know what this was, since it was the inheritance of Taoist Spirit Heart, it must be something good. This is called the 100 machine drill. It contains the method to control these 100 puppets. You can make them form various battle formations to defend against the enemy. Taoist Spirit Heart waved his hand again, and the 100 puppets reappeared. Then he said, "These 100 puppets are just casually refined by me, so there are flaws. If you can find me in the future, I will give you these Spirit Heart puppets. When the time comes, with the help of the 100 machine drill, you can even fight against an enlightened being." Enlightened being? Yi Xian heard this keyword. Enlightened being, was it the same realm? Well, you can now control this ruin. You can do whatever you want with those people. However, one of them has the blood of my old friend and accidentally broke in. I think his name is Ling Kai. You can release him. Taoist Spirit Heart said. Yes, Senior. Yi Xian nodded. As soon as he finished speaking, Taoist Spirit Heart's phantom image disappeared, leaving no trace of where he was or what his identity was. It seemed like Yi Xian had to look for him himself. However, the clue was on that Ling Kai because Taoist Spirit Heart said that this Ling Kai was the descendant of his old friend. When the time comes, as long as he followed this clue, he should be able to find him. Boom! At this time, a door beside the hall suddenly opened. Yi Xian hastily walked in and found that there were hundreds and thousands of people imprisoned inside. Not only that, these people's auras were much stronger than his. There were even high-level immortal emperors. Heavens! Yi Xian was shocked. He quickly glanced around and found the traces of the old tree and Azura ghost venerable. Young master, you are finally here. I have been waiting for so many years. Old tree said helplessly. So many years? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. He was only a few seconds away from the old tree, but the difference was calculated in years. This was too terrifying. No wonder his time reversal couldn't be used. So this was the reason. Wow, someone is here. Hey, young man, quickly let me out. Chapter 1804. These people were locked up in solitary confinement and were protected by a formation, so they couldn't threaten him. If they could come out, they could definitely kill Yi Xian. But if they could come out, why would they need to threaten him? Now that Yi Xian was in control of the space-time relic, he directly released the old tree and Azura ghost venerable. Then, he released the 100 ordinary puppets. 100 machine manipulation can instantly control these 100 ordinary puppets and form various battle formations. But with my current realm, I'm afraid that I can't even control 1/10,000th of their strength. Let's think about it later. Yi Xian thought for a while and then prepared to carry out a plan, which was to put all of them into the planting space. You people were trapped by Spiritual Heart Reverend because you didn't manage to pass this relic. Unfortunately, I've just passed Spiritual Heart Reverend's test. Now your life and death is up to me. Yi Xian said slowly. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. What? Spiritual Heart Reverend? The owner of this relic is actually a Spiritual Heart Reverend. Heavens! This third-grade immortal venerable actually obtained the inheritance of a Spiritual Heart Reverend. I wonder how lucky he is. What nonsense are you talking about? Now that he's in control of this relic, if you dare to talk nonsense again, do you believe that he won't kill you? The crowd of nearly 1,000 fell silent. Among this group of people, the strongest was a 9th-grade immortal emperor. This was a super battle force. However, Yi Xian planned to put them into the planting space and not let them out. Next, I'll put you all into my planting space one by one. If anyone dares to refuse, I'll kill them without mercy. Yi Xian's face suddenly turned cold and looked around. Everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva. In this group of people, the weakest was a first-grade immortal emperor. It was fine that they fell into the hands of spiritual heart reverend, but now, they fell into the hands of a third-grade immortal venerable who wasn't even an immortal emperor. It was really humiliating. However, they didn't know that Xian couldn't completely control the 100 puppets. After all, they couldn't guess the means of a spiritual heart reverend. Good, very good. Let's begin. Xian narrowed his eyes. Then, he enveloped a first-grade immortal emperor with the energy of the planting space. This first-grade immortal emperor didn't dare to resist and was directly sucked into the planting space. In the planting space, even a 9th-grade immortal emperor would be trapped to death. Then, one by one, the immortal emperors were taken in by Xian. For the time being, no one resisted. However, after Xian had collected more than 100 people, there was finally a failure. This was a grade 4 immortal emperor. He was the one who had scolded Xian. "What's your name?" Xian asked. "I am Lin Yuanlong. You can kill me or torture me as you wish." Hearing this, Xian smiled faintly and nodded. "Someone come and kill him. When the time comes, I will set him free." "Me. Let me do it. I'm happy to help." Immediately, all the immortal emperors were in an uproar. Killing a grade 4 immortal emperor would give them freedom. This was definitely a good deal. The brawny man was so scared that his face turned pale. Before he could speak, the barrier behind him suddenly disappeared. Then, a grade 6 immortal emperor came in and instantly pierced through his immortal heart. "Kill the chicken to warn the monkey." Only by doing this would the rest of the people obediently enter the planting space. "Very good. After a while, I will set you free. I, Xian, am a man of my word," Xian said to the grade 6 immortal emperor. Thank you, thank you." The grade 6 immortal emperor hurriedly thanked him. Following that, Xian's journey was smooth sailing. He didn't miss a single one of them and put them into his planting space. Even the grade 9 immortal emperor was taken in by Xian after some hesitation. A grade 9 immortal emperor was very close to becoming a perfected person. However, the level of the planting space was very high. He couldn't leave with his means. As a result, these people's Chen Kuan rings all fell into Xian's hands. TSK, TSK, TSK. So many heavenly treasures. It will be enough for me to break through for a long time. Xian grinned. This time, he had really gained a lot. He had earned a lot. Of course, he didn't forget Ling Kai, who was entrusted by perfected person Ling Xin. Immediately, he projected himself into the planting space and asked, "Which one of you is called Ling Kai?" As soon as he said this, those people looked at each other. In the end, a person walked out. This was a grade 6 immortal emperor. However, coincidentally, it was the same grade 6 immortal emperor who killed Lin Yuanlong. You are looking for me?" Ling Kai looked at Xian with some surprise. Perfected person Ling Xin said that you are the descendant of his old friend. "Don't you know?" Xian transmitted his voice. "Old friend?" Ling Kai was stunned and said, "There was indeed a perfected person among my ancestors. However, he went to travel the world. Many of the elders haven't seen him." "What's the name of your ancestor?" Xian asked again. "Ling Lang." Ling Kai answered without thinking. "Okay, I got it." Xian nodded slightly and said, "Then what's the perfected person's realm?" "After the immortal emperor is the perfected person. Oh, there's also a half-step perfected person in between," Ling Kai said. "Half-step perfected person? Perfected person?" Hearing this, Xian paused. Currently, he was not even an immortal emperor. He was too far away from the perfected person. At this time, he recalled that perfected person Ling Xin had said that if all 100 puppets were replaced with spirit heart puppets, he could even fight with a perfected person. He didn't expect them to be so strong. Unfortunately, he could only use the puppets as meat shields. As for the battle, he would leave it to the old tree, Azura Ghost Venerable, and the others. "Okay, I understand." Xian nodded slightly and then asked, "May I ask, where is the place after leaving this ruin?" "I came from another space continent." "Another space continent?" Ling Kai was slightly surprised and said, "There are indeed some small space continents that connect to the Holy World." "The Holy World?" Xian narrowed his eyes. No matter where he was, he only had one goal, and that was to be the strongest in the world. It was the same everywhere. He had to level up anyway. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. I'll let you out after I leave this ruin. After saying that, Yi Xian walked toward the exit of the ruin. As for the Immortal World's Emperor Qing, Empress Wu, Immortal Dragon Emperor, Red Dragon Emperor, and the others, Yi Xian naturally chose to ignore them. Just now, the old tree and Azura Ghost Venerable entered first, and he entered a few seconds later. There was a gap of decades between them. Even if the Emperor Qing and the others followed him in, there would still be a big gap. Even if it was a year, Yi Xian couldn't be bothered to wait. Besides, he didn't know when the Emperor Qing and the Immortal World would enter. What if it was 1,000 years? Chapter 1805. Let's go. Without hesitation, Yi Xian left the space-time relic, or rather, the spiritual heart relic. As soon as he left the relic, a system notification popped up. Ding! Host has completed the random mission, Space-Time Bloodline Advancement. Random mission completed, Space-Time Bloodline Advancement. Now, the flow of space in the planting space had increased to 51,200 times. 140 years in the planting space was equivalent to 1 day in the outside world. This was a great tool for cultivation. After leaving the relic, Yi Xian arrived at the holy realm that Ling Kai had mentioned. No matter where it was the same. Is this the holy realm? Yi Xian squinted his eyes. He felt that the immortal qi here was 10 times more abundant than in the immortal realm. It was a pleasure to cultivate here. However, as soon as he left the relic, another system notification popped up. Ding! Host has triggered a chain random mission. Escort Ling Kai back to the Ling Family Escort Agency. He had just completed a random mission, and now there was a chain random mission. This was great. There is no reward. It seems that it has something to do with my efficiency. Yi Xian squinted his eyes and projected himself into the planting space. He asked, Ling Kai, where is your family? Me. I am from the Ling Family Escort Agency, Ling Kai replied. The Ling Family Escort Agency? Yi Xian searched for it in his mind. He had collected many Qian Kuan rings and copied all the maps into the immortal level devouring system. Now he could make use of them. Soon, he pulled out a map and looked at it. The Ling Family Escort Agency? If we travel at full speed, it will take us 3 days. Yi Xian thought to himself. This was based on Ling Kai's speed. When Ling Kai accidentally entered the spiritual heart relic, he was only a 3rd-grade immortal emperor. Ling Kai's family, the Ling Family Escort Agency, was located next to a city. They were responsible for escorting valuable items. It was said that they were quite famous in this area. Ling Kai was the grandson of the deputy leader of the Ling Family Escort Agency, so he had some status in the agency. However, since this was a chain random mission, it wouldn't be so easy to escort Ling Kai back. Ling Kai, how long have you been locked in there? Yi Xian asked again. Almost 100,000 years. Ling Kai answered honestly. 100,000 years, so long. Yi Xian paused for a moment. 100,000 years was like a fairy tale to him. Moreover, 100,000 years was enough for a lot of changes. Perhaps the Ling Family Escort Agency had moved something? No matter what, since the system had given him a notification, the Ling Family Escort Agency would definitely still exist. At that moment, Yi Xian released Ling Kai and said, Daoist Ling Xian has entrusted me with a task, so I have to follow you to the Ling Clan's escort agency. Bring me along. Alright. Ling Kai didn't waste any more time and left with Yi Xian. Although he had already broken through to the 6th-grade Celestial Emperor realm, Yi Xian was able to obtain the inheritance of Daoist Spirit Heart and control hundreds of puppets. His battle prowess was definitely not that simple. Therefore, Ling Kai didn't plan to do anything to Yi Xian to avoid any accidents. Then, Ling Kai brought Yi Xian and flew in the direction of the Ling Clan's escort agency. However, things weren't that simple. Ling Kai flew with Yi Xian for 3 full days, but they didn't find anything. The area was completely deserted. The people were gone. The Ling Clan's escort agency was gone. What happened? What happened during the 100,000 years I was locked up? Ling Kai was shocked. The Ling Clan's escort agency was a family with a heritage of more than 1,000,000 years. There was even a half-step enlightened being in the family. How could it be gone just like that? It's really not an easy task. I don't know if the Ling clan's escort agency was destroyed or moved away. Yi Xian had a headache and said to Ling Kai, maybe they moved away. We passed by a city just now. Why don't we ask around? All right. Ling Kai nodded. If the Ling clan's escort agency was gone, wouldn't he become a homeless man? However, it had only been 100,000 years. For an immortal emperor, it wasn't a long time. He should be able to find out if he investigated. Immediately, Ling Kai once again brought Yi Xian and flew towards a city that they just passed by. Ding! Host has broken through. Host is now a 4th grade immortal venerable. Ding! Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian, Yanming Ghost Lord, and Sky-breaking Ape God have broken through. Host is now a 8th grade immortal venerable. After a day and a half, they arrived. During this time, Yi Xian and the others had also broken through. However, this level was considered good in the immortal world. In the holy world it was the lowest level. This city was called Silver City. Although it wasn't big, it had a large population. Moreover, the people inside were at least immortal venerables. Immortal emperors could be seen everywhere. There were even half-step enlightened beings. In every city, there was a place like this where one could gather information, such as inns. Yi Xian and Ling Kai entered one of the largest inns and asked about it. The Ling clan's escort agency from 100,000 years ago? I'm not very sure. Our Silver City has only been established for 50,000 years. The innkeeper of the inn said. This meant that the Ling clan's escort agency had disappeared 50,000 years ago. It seemed that they had to ask someone else. Just as Yi Xian and Ling Kai were about to leave, the innkeeper suddenly said, by the way, I've never heard of the Ling clan's escort agency. However, there is a Lin clan's escort agency in the north. Lin clan's escort agency? Hearing this, Yi Xian and Ling Kai couldn't help but look at each other. Ling and Lin's voices were different. However, the appearance of a Lin clan's escort agency was indeed a little inconceivable. Innkeeper, how long has this Lin clan's escort agency been established? Who's the leader? Ling Kai asked. It was established before Silver City. About 70,000 years ago. The leader seems to be called Lin Miao, a half-step enlightened being. The innkeeper replied. When Ling Kai heard this name, he couldn't help but tremble. Back then, the Ling clan's escort agency had a deputy leader called Lin Miao. Could it be that it was the same person? Seeing Ling Kai's reaction, Yi Xian also understood that this Lin clan's escort agency was most likely related to the Ling clan's escort agency from 100,000 years ago. It seemed that they had found some clues. Immediately, they asked the innkeeper again, hoping to get more clues. However, the innkeeper was from another place, so he didn't know much. After leaving the inn, Yi Xian couldn't help but ask, Ling Kai, this Lin Miao, was he also a member of the Ling clan's escort agency? Yes, he was a deputy leader like my grandfather. Ling Kai nodded and said. Chapter 1806. Therefore, Yi Xian decided to visit the Lin clan's escort agency first. He wanted to confirm whether the leader of the Lin clan's escort agency was Lin Miao from the Ling clan's escort agency. Immediately, Yi Xian and Ling Kai left once again, heading towards the Lin family's escort agency in the north. A day later, they arrived at the Lin clan's escort agency. Your Excellencies, are you here to deliver the goods? A strong man greeted them outside the Lin clan's escort agency. Ling Kai sensed that the man was a 7th grade Celestial Emperor expert. The Lin clan's escort agency seemed to be much stronger than the Ling clan's escort agency. I'm here to look for someone, Ling Kai said directly. Who are you looking for? The strong man asked in surprise. The leader of the Lin clan's escort agency, Lin Miao. After Ling Kai finished speaking, the strong man was stunned for a second. He then said, Where did you come from? Who do you think you are? You want to see our leader as soon as you open your mouth. Seeing that Ling Kai wasn't here to deliver the goods, the strong man couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense. His attitude changed completely. Just as Ling Kai was about to speak, Yi Xian suddenly said, Don't be in a hurry. Let's see if we can find a portrait of the leader of the Lin clan's escort agency. Hearing this, Ling Kai was shocked. How could he have forgotten this method? If the leader of the Lin clan's escort agency was the same person as the deputy leader of the Ling clan's escort agency, Ling Kai would know at a glance. Yi Xian and Ling Kai left again. The former broke through the void and returned to Silver City. They should be able to find a portrait of Lin Miao here. Sure enough, within 5 minutes, Yi Xian and Ling Kai arrived at a floating image crystal. It showed the scene of the leader of the Lin clan's escort agency, Lin Miao, passing by Silver City. That's right. It's him. Ling Kai nodded immediately when he saw Lin Miao. This meant that the current leader of the Lin clan's escort agency was the same person as the deputy leader of the Lin clan's escort agency 100,000 years ago. If that was the case, it would be easy. Then, Yi Xian tore through the void and returned. Since this Lin Miao was the Lin Miao that Ling Kai knew, he should also remember Ling Kai. After all, Ling Kai's grandfather was also a deputy leader, and his great-grandfather was the leader of the Lin's escort agency. Therefore, he wanted to use the simplest method. Grandpa Lin Miao, I am Lei Feng's grandson, Ling Kai. I have just returned from my training. Please meet me. Ling Kai gathered his courage and shouted directly outside the Lin's escort agency. His voice was deafening and fell into the ears of everyone in the Lin escort agency. When the burly man at the door heard this, he immediately locked onto Ling Kai and charged over. Bastard! You actually dare to disturb others? See if I don't slap you to death. Although the burly man was a little surprised, how could a poor man like Ling Kai know the leader of the Lin family escort agency, Lin Miao? What a joke! In an instant, the burly man appeared in front of Ling Kai and punched out. Old Tree, kill him. Yi Xian immediately summoned Old Tree, who had already donned the mystic god battle armor. Bang! This punch was blocked by Old Tree and repelled the burly man. The burly man was a 7th-grade celestial emperor. Although Old Tree was an 8th-grade celestial venerable, he was not afraid of the burly man with the mystic god battle armor. Of course, the burly man had obviously underestimated him. Moreover, Old Tree had suddenly appeared and repelled him. Bastard! You are courting death. When the burly man saw that he was repelled, he was immediately furious. However, in the next moment, a person flashed out of the Lin escort agency and shouted, "Stop!" When the burly man heard this, his body immediately trembled and he stopped. The person who had just arrived was the chief steward of the Lin escort agency. He was the one who took care of most of the matters in the Lin escort agency. The burly man could recognize him just by hearing his voice. Uncle Li? Ling Kai recognized him. This was the chief steward of the Lin escort agency. He was also the chief steward of the Ling escort agency. Ling Kai, it's really you. Uncle Li landed on the ground in surprise and asked, "Where have you been all these years?" "I went out to train and have only just returned," Ling Kai said. "Not bad, not bad. I remember that when you left, you were only a 3rd-grade celestial emperor. In less than 100,000 years, you have broken through to a 6th-grade celestial emperor." Uncle Li nodded in satisfaction. "Uncle Li, where are my father and grandfather?" Ling Kai could not help but ask in surprise. "Sigh, come in with me first. I will tell you slowly." Uncle Li sighed. Then, he led Ling Kai and Yi Xian into the Lin escort agency. The burly man who had attacked just now was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. He did not expect Ling Kai to know Lin Miao. Fortunately, he did not hurt Ling Kai. Otherwise, he would have been dead. Yi Xian and Ling Kai entered the Lin escort agency under Uncle Li's lead. At the same time, the moment Yi Xian stepped into the Lin escort agency, a system notification sounded. Ding! The host has successfully escorted Ling Kai back to the Ling escort agency. The first part of the mission was completed. However, the second part of the mission was not triggered yet. Uncle Li led Ling Kai into a room. Before he could say anything, Ling Kai asked again, "Uncle Li, where are my family members?" "They have all moved away." Uncle Li replied. "Moved away? Where to?" Ling Kai asked in surprise. Uncle Li shook his head and said, "I am not very sure. Back then, for some reason, your great-grandfather started to organize the Ling family to move away. I am afraid that only your great-grandfather knows the reason. Perhaps even your grandfather does not know the reason." After that, they left, leaving the Ling escort agency in a mess. Lin Miao could not bear to see them leave, so he reorganized and established the Lin escort agency. Only my great-grandfather knows the reason for the move? Ling Kai was puzzled. What was it that they were not willing to tell their own family members? Why did they leave in such a hurry? Could it be that they had encountered something that could lead to the extermination of their family? Then, has there been no news of them in the past 100,000 years? Ling Kai asked. After they left, the branch leader has investigated many times, but to no avail. Your grandfather and the rest seem to have evaporated into thin air. Uncle Li shook his head. Ling Kai found it hard to accept and did not know what to say. Ling Kai, this matter cannot be rushed. Anyway, the branch leader has been sending people to look for clues. Why don't you stay here first? If there is any news, we will inform you immediately, Uncle Li said. All right, then I will have to trouble you, Uncle Li. Ling Kai nodded. He knew nothing at the moment, so it was not a bad choice to stay in the Lin Escort Agency for the time being. Previously, there were many outsiders in the Ling Escort Agency. Uncle Li, Lin Miao, and the rest had children, so Ling Kai was familiar with them. Hey Ling Kai, you are back? At this moment, a young man suddenly walked in. Chapter 1807. Lin Qi was Lin Miao's grandson. He used to have a good relationship with Ling Kai. During the 100,000 years that Ling Kai was trapped in the spiritual heart relic, Lin Qi had also broken through from the 3rd grade Celestial Emperor to the 7th grade Celestial Emperor. After not seeing each other for so many years, the two of them were naturally closer. Ling Kai and Lin Qi chatted for a while, then stayed in the Lin clan's escort agency for the time being. Yi Xian did the same because he had not triggered the second part of the quest. However, this chain of random quests was definitely related to Ling Kai. Yi Xian stayed in the Lin clan's escort agency for a few days. Then, he received a message from Ling Kai. Lin Qi is going to escort a quest. Are you coming with him? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. His intuition told him that this time it might be. Ding! Host has triggered the second part of the chain of random quests. Follow Lin Qi's escort team. The system notified. Sure enough, the second part of the random quests appeared. Ling Kai, bring me along. Yi Xian hurriedly transmitted his voice. Lin Qi was only a 7th grade Celestial Emperor. Moreover, this escort quest seemed to be very easy, so it was fine to add a point. Tomorrow, they would leave the Lin clan's escort agency to escort something to a city. Yi Xian felt that this quest was not going to be easy. On the second day, Yi Xian met up with Ling Kai and joined Lin Qi's escort team. Previously, Ling Kai had told Lin Qi that Yi Xian was only the son of his friend. Therefore, Lin Qi did not take Yi Xian seriously and did not have time to deal with Yi Xian. He was just a bystander in the escort team. Apart from Lin Qi, who was a 7th grade Celestial Emperor, there were 4 6th grade Celestial Emperors and more than 10 5th grade Celestial Emperors escorting the escort team. The escort team would take about half a month. Yi Xian was mixed in with this group, acting as a bystander. The journey was very smooth. However, on the day that Yi Xian broke through to the 5th grade Celestial Emperor, something happened. Lin Qi's escort team was stopped by a group of bandits. How dare you stop the escort team of the Lin clan's escort agency? Who gave you the courage? Lin Qi stood at the front of the group and said to the group of bandits. The Lin family's escort agency would carry a large flag when they were transporting goods. This way, anyone who passed by would know which force they belonged to. This group of bandits had obviously seen it as well, but they still chose to stop it. They probably had ill intentions. Ha ha ha, Lin's escort agency. I'm so scared. The leader of the bandits laughed out loud. In their group, there were 3 rank 6 immortal emperors. The rest of them were rank 5 immortal emperors and rank 4 immortal emperors. If they were to fight, they might be able to win. If you know what's good for you, get out of the way. Otherwise, I'll kill you all. Lin Qi was furious. Since they knew that they were from the Lin family's escort agency, how dare they stop them? They were courting death. Let's not waste any more time. Brothers, get ready. We're going to rob them. The man in the lead shouted and took out his weapon. You are courting death. Lin Qi glared and took the initiative to attack. Shill, shill, shill. Immediately, the flying swords of both sides began to clash. As the only rank 7 immortal emperor, Lin Qi naturally took the lead and chose to kill his way into the group of bandits. His sword was not to be controlled, but to be held in his hand. Lin Qi was a sword celestial. Damn it, he's a sword celestial. Let's go. When the man in the lead saw this, His expression changed greatly and he quickly retreated. It's too late to leave now. Lin Chi shouted angrily and slashed with his sword. In an instant, the leader of the bandits was split into two. In the group of bandits, the other two men were so scared that their faces turned pale. They thought that they were evenly matched, but they did not expect the gap between them to be so big. Don't kill us, we were asked by someone. A rank 6 immortal emperor bandit shouted hastily. Asked by someone? When Lin Chi heard this, he was slightly surprised. Even he, a rank 7 immortal emperor, could receive this flying dart. Who was targeting them? The bandit nodded and said, Yes, it was a man in black. He was at least a rank 8 immortal emperor. He asked us to rob you, otherwise, he would destroy our group of bandits. A man in black, a rank 8 immortal emperor? Lin Chi squinted his eyes. He felt that the other party was lying. However, when he thought of the strength of the Lin clan's escort agency, the other party might be afraid of the Lin clan's escort agency, so he asked others to help. This seemed to make sense. Humph, if that's the case, then die. Lin Chi snorted coldly. The long sword in his hand fell and killed the bandit. The strength of a sword celestial was not something that ordinary people could withstand. Soon, this group of bandits was destroyed by Lin Chi's guards. However, this group of bandits did not give them any clues. Someone actually wants to rob my dart. He's courting death. Lin Chi snorted coldly again. He looked around and did not find anyone suspicious. However, this did not guarantee that the rank 8 immortal emperor was not nearby. Although the Lin clan's escort agency was big, there were still many cases of robberies. Some succeeded and some failed. However, Yi Xian felt that this time, it was not that simple. Before he could remind Ling Kai, an aura enveloped everyone. What a bunch of trash. It seems that I have to take action. Suddenly, an old voice sounded. Then, a man in black entered everyone's sight. Lin Chi and the others looked over and sensed. A rank 8 immortal emperor? No, a rank 9 immortal emperor. You're the one who threatened them to rob the Lin clan's escort agency? Lin Chi asked with narrowed eyes. That's me. The man in black replied coldly. How dare you? Lin Chi shouted. A rank 9 immortal emperor was 2 realms higher than a rank 7 immortal emperor. Even if he was a sword celestial, it would be difficult for him to fight. This is a serious matter. Let's not talk nonsense. Let's end this quickly. The man in black thought for a while and attacked directly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A strong wind blew. Lin Chi and the others did not expect the man in black to attack without any warning. It seemed that he did not care about the Lin clan's escort agency at all. However, an expert of this realm was not afraid of a group battle. Among the people present, only Lin Chi could fight against him. Ling Kai, take the escorts and leave. I'll hold him back. Lin Chi threw an interspatial ring to Ling Kai, who was behind him. This interspatial ring was the item that the employer requested to be escorted to the destination. However, there was a formation on the interspatial ring. Without special means, it could not be opened. Okay. Ling Kai also knew that they could not help. After catching the interspatial ring, he quickly turned around and left. Humph, you want to leave? The man in black snorted. He left Lin Chi behind and charged toward Ling Kai. You want to chase after me? Have you asked for my sword's permission? Lin Chi swallowed an elixir. This was a type of elixir that could greatly increase one's strength. However, it was very damaging to one's immortal heart. It was possible that he would not be able to break through in the future. Chapter 1808. Ling Kai took the Qian Kuan ring and immediately left with the rest. The Lin escort agency's method of protection was similar to the Ling escort agency's. If they were robbed, they would first hand the item to someone else. Then, they would use a camouflage to escape in different directions. This way they could confuse the pursuers. On the other hand, Yi Xian, a 5th grade immortal venerable, was a little strange in this team. After all, the weakest among them was a 5th grade immortal emperor, which was a full realm higher than him. However, when Ling Kai escaped, he only brought Yi Xian with him. Yi Xian was actually very confused. This should be the second round of the chain random mission. However, the system only asked him to follow Lin Chi and did not specify anything else. It seemed that the time had not come yet. What exactly is this item? Yi Xian was very curious. What was it that made a ninth-grade immortal emperor so cautious? However, just a minute after Ling Kai left with Yi Xian. Ding! The host has triggered the third round of the chain random mission. Kill the man in black and take back the item. The chain random mission actually skipped the second round and arrived at the third round. What was going on? Just now, he had already issued a death pursuit order to the man in black. Not only that, but Lin Qi also had one. However, now he saw that the targets of these two death pursuit order were getting further and further away. Thinking of the difference in realm between Lin Qi and the man in black, Yi Xian had a guess. Lin Qi might have been injured by the man in black and was escaping. However, if that was the case, why did the man in black not chase after him? Suddenly, Yi Xian seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly sent a message. Ling Kai, look at this Qian ring. What is in it? There is an array on it. Ling Kai said instinctively. Give it to me. Yi Xian immediately snatched the Qian ring and threw it into the planting space. He asked the ninth-grade immortal emperor in the planting space to help. The ninth-grade immortal emperor could only listen to Yi Xian's instructions in the planting space. He quickly broke the Qian ring. Although there were many good items in the Cosmos ring, it was not enough for a ninth-grade celestial emperor to take action. This Cosmos ring is just a smoke screen. The real dart should still be on Lin Qi. Yi Xian's expression changed. Just now, the immortal level devouring system had notified him to kill the black-robed man and then take back the goods. This meant that the goods were already in the hands of the man in black. In other words, what Lin Qi threw to Ling Kai was a fake delivery, and the real delivery was still with Lin Qi. However, the black-clothed man saw through this and took the real goods from Lin Qi. Lin Qi was seriously injured and then fled. Therefore, the two targets of the death warrant were moving in opposite directions. Ling Kai, you go back first. After Yi Xian finished speaking to Ling Kai, he directly broke through the void and returned to the place where he met the black-clothed man. This black-clothed person's speed was very fast. Relying on his realm, there was no way he could catch up no matter what. I can only chase after him slowly. I hope that he will stop and crack the array on the Cosmos ring. Yi Xian thought to himself. Coincidentally, Wei Zhentian could change to the Immortal Ascension steps today, so his speed was quite fast. With the death warrant, Yi Xian would not lose track of the black-clothed man. However, it would not be so easy to take back the goods from the hands of a ninth-grade immortal emperor. I am now a fifth-grade immortal venerable. Old Tree, Azura Ghost, Wei Zhentian and Heavenbreaker are all ninth-grade immortal venerables. Wait for me to make a breakthrough. Heavenbreaker should have an 80% chance of killing the black-clothed man. Yi Xian thought to himself. Heavenbreaker's strength was above Luo, who had already broken through to the first-grade immortal emperor realm. When he put on the mystic divine battle armor, he would definitely be able to retrieve the goods. However, the black-clothed man had to be able to stop. Yi Xian chased after the black-clothed man for a few days. During this time, his cultivation had also broken through from the 5th-grade Immortal Venerable to the 6th-grade Immortal Venerable. Old Tree, Azura Ghost, Wei Zhentian and Heavenbreaker had also reached the 1st-grade Immortal Emperor realm. Now, Yi Xian was confident. Coincidentally, the black-clothed man stopped after running for 2 days. It seemed like he was trying to crack the array on the Qian ring. He stopped. I hope that he will stop running. Otherwise, how am I going to catch up with him? Yi Xian thought to himself and continued to chase after the black-clothed man. At this time, Wei Zhentian had already broken through to the 1st-grade Immortal Emperor realm. The speed of the Immortal Ascension Steps Cloud Shoes was astonishingly fast. Yi Xian estimated that it would take another 3 days for him to catch up. During these 3 days, Yi Xian had been paying attention to the black-clothed man's movements. Just as Yi Xian had hoped, the black-clothed man did not move. After 3 days, Yi Xian finally caught up with the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man is hiding underground. He should still be trying to crack the array on the Qian ring. Yi Xian thought to himself. Then he said to Old Tree, "Old Tree, beat him out of there." "All right." Old Tree nodded and swooped down. After a while, the ground started to shake violently. Then, Yi Xian heard a few system notifications. Ding! Azura Ghost Lord and Yanming Ghostly Lord are dead. Ding! Azura Ghost Lord and Yanming Ghostly Lord are revived. Both Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord were killed by the 9th-grade Immortal Emperor below. This was within Yi Xian's expectations. When Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord joined forces, they could only fight against an 8th-grade Immortal Emperor without the Mystic Divine Armor. The one below was a 9th-grade Immortal Emperor. It was only natural that he would be killed. However, Yi Xian's aim was to lure the black-clothed man out. Indeed, not long after Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord died, the black-clothed man broke through the ground. He was holding the Qian ring in his hand. 6th-grade Immortal Master? The black-clothed man was shocked. A mere 6th-grade Immortal Master dared to find trouble with him? However, what shocked the black-clothed man was that Yi Xian was able to find him. Was it a coincidence or something else? I remember you. You were in that team. What do you want? The black-clothed man said coldly. To be honest, he was interested in Yi Xian. A 6th-grade Immortal Master was like an ant in his eyes. However, he was able to remain calm when facing him. It seemed like he was not an ordinary person. What do I want? Hearing this, Yi Xian's lips curled up slightly. Then he said slowly, Of course I want to kill you. When the word you was heard, the sky-splitting divine ape, who was wearing the mystic divine armor, was finally summoned by Yi Xian. A 1st-grade demon emperor sky-splitting divine ape, wearing the mystic divine armor, its combat power was off the charts. What? The black-clothed man had just reacted when he saw 108 rod shadows coming towards him. These 108 rod shadows were very fast. The black-clothed man had just reacted when he was hit. Bam! 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 All 108 rod shadows hit the black-clothed man's body. His shoulder was instantly smashed into pieces. Even his immortal heart was shattered. Chapter 1809. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. When the system beeped, Yi Xian had already rushed over and kept the Qian ring and the Qian ring. Ding! Host has completed the chain random task. System rewards 1000 severing slash to advance once and unicorn to advance once. The chain random task was finally completed. Moreover, the rewards of this chain random mission were simply too good to be true. 1000 severing slash had advanced once before and required 2 devour points to advance again. Now the triggering rate was higher and it could vibrate 3000 times in an instant. This was very important for Yi Xian to challenge those of a higher level. Moreover, unicorn to advance again required 4 devour points. Now, Yi Xian could directly summon level 2 unicorn, which was very good. Let me see what is in this Qian ring. Yi Xian immediately asked the celestial level devour system to analyze the array on the Qian ring. Ding! Deciphering the array will take 2 days. Do you want to decipher it now? Yes. Yi Xian immediately agreed. He could still wait for 2 days. At the same time during these 2 days, Yi Xian's cultivation had risen to the 7th grade of the Immortal Sovereign Realm, while Old Shu, Azura, Wei Zhentian, and the heaven-breaking divine ape had all become 2nd grade Immortal Emperors. Now, they should be invincible among those who were not a half-step immortal. 2 days later. Ding! Deciphering the array is successful. The system beeped. Hearing this, Yi Xian quickly checked the Qian ring and found that there was nothing in it. No, there was something. It was a black scale the size of a fingernail and it seemed to be broken. It should be half a scale. Yi Xian immediately used the celestial level devour system to analyze it. Ding! This item is a dragon scale. It turned out that it was just a dragon scale. However, if it was just a dragon scale, how could it attract the attention of a level 9 Immortal Emperor? Could it be that there was something fishy? Yi Xian played with it for a while but did not find anything special. However, this black dragon scale could not be devoured. How strange! In his astonishment, Yi Xian investigated the universe ring of the black-clothed man to see who he was. An elder of the Cold Star sect? After a quick search, Yi Xian confirmed the other party's identity. This 9th grade Immortal Emperor was an elder of the Cold Star sect. However, other than that, there was nothing else useful. He still didn't know what this dragon scale was for. By the way, someone entrusted Lin's escort agency to escort this dragon scale. We can start from the employer or the destination of the escort. Yi Xian's eyes lit up. This dragon scale indeed belonged to the Lin family's escort agency. However, it had been snatched away by the man in black, and Yi Xian had snatched it back. Therefore, Yi Xian didn't want to return it to the Lin escort agency. After all, he felt that this dragon scale was very unusual. Let's go back to Lin's escort agency and take a look. Yi Xian thought to himself as he prepared to break through the void and return to Lin's escort agency. However, right at this moment, ding! The target of the death hunt order is dead. Suddenly, a system notification rang out, causing Yi Xian to freeze on the spot. The target of the death hunt order was dead? Previously, Yi Xian had marked the little demon king of chaos, the black-clothed man, and Lin Qi. The little demon king of chaos was fine in the planting space, the black-clothed man was already dead, so this time, the one who died was Lin Qi. Isn't that the Lin family's escort agency? Yi Xian was shocked. He was about to break through the void when he suddenly stopped. Lin Qi had died near the Lin family's escort agency. What was going on? Yi Xian glanced at it and found that he could use the time reversal skill. Therefore, he broke through the void and arrived near the Lin family's escort agency. B*****. Find him. You must find him. A loud shout entered Yi Xian's ears. Following that, waves of powerful auras appeared. There were dozens of people, all of whom were high-level immortal emperors. Moreover, there were 3 auras that were more powerful than the 9th-grade immortal emperor elder of the Cold Star sect. Half-step enlightened masters. Gulp! Yi Xian swallowed his saliva. Looking at the destroyed Lin family's escort agency, he suddenly realized what had happened. The Lin family's escort agency was destroyed. No wonder Lin Qi was dead. So this was the reason. Kid, what are you doing? Suddenly, a voice entered Yi Xian's ears. Oh no! Hearing this, Yi Xian's expression changed drastically. Although the person who came was an 8th-grade immortal emperor, there were still many experts patrolling the area. Once the battle started, he would have to face the 3 half-step immortal emperors. Humph! You destroyed the Lin family's escort agency. I will avenge Ling Kai. Yi Xian's eyes widened. Killing intent flashed in his eyes. He should be able to kill 3 half-step immortal emperors. Although he could reverse time, he might not be able to take revenge only once. The only thing he could do now was to kill. Patian, kill them! Yi Xian roared. In the next moment, the divine ape of heaven splitting appeared. It directly smashed the 8th-grade immortal emperor into pieces. Heaven shocking 108 strikes. The divine ape of heaven splitting was a 2nd-grade demon emperor. After wearing the mystic divine armor, its combat strength was extraordinary. A 9th-grade immortal emperor only needed 1 strike. What? Not far away, the 3 half-step immortal emperors were shocked. They did not know where the divine ape of heaven splitting came from. However, the divine ape of heaven splitting's attack was enough to threaten them. I didn't expect the Lin family's escort agency to have such an immortal beast. We can capture it and bring it back to the sect leader. The leader of the half-step immortal emperors sent a message to the other 2. Then they charged forward. Fight! The divine ape of heaven splitting, the old tree, Azura Ghost Lord and Luo Luo were enough to fight against the 3 half-step immortal emperors. If they were to compare, Yi Xian's side had the upper hand. Me too. Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change. 3rd Change. In an instant, Yi Xian's cultivation realm broke through from the 7th-grade immortal emperor to the 9th-grade immortal emperor. Due to his high cultivation realm, the Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change only increased by 2 realms. However, this was already good enough. Being a 9th-grade immortal emperor and having the slaughter status increased by 6 times, his strength was not bad. Immortal Slaying Sword Formation, Rise! Yi Xian and the others began a frenzied slaughter. Although the 3 half-step immortal emperors were strong, they were not as strong as the divine ape of heaven splitting. In less than 5 seconds, the 3 of them were defeated and killed one by one. Yi Xian immediately rushed over and collected their interspatial rings. They are all from the Frigid Star sect. Yi Xian squinted his eyes slightly. The 3 half-step immortal emperors and the 9th-grade immortal emperors were all elders of the Frigid Star sect. So was the man in black from before. It seemed that the Frigid Star sect knew what the dragon scale was. However, before that, it was better to turn back time. Previously, he had spent 2 days deciphering the formation. Coincidentally, the Lin family's escort agency was destroyed. Chapter 1810. Time Reversal. Yi Xian immediately used his divine technique and returned to the moment when the black-clothed man died. Although I haven't deciphered the interspatial ring, I already know what's inside. It won't be a problem later. Yi Xian said in his heart. Then, he broke through the void and returned to Lin's escort agency. The people of Lin's escort agency recognized Yi Xian, so they immediately let Yi Xian in. Ling Kai and Lin Qi had already returned. They were discussing how to deal with the situation. After all, they had lost their mission. However, they didn't understand that the mission this time was very important. In 2 days' time, they would be annihilated. Ling Kai, tell Lin's escort agency that the Frigid Star sect will send 3 half-step enlightened masters to destroy Lin's escort agency at noon 2 days later. Yi Xian directly transmitted to Ling Kai through voice transmission. What? Ling Kai was shocked. 3 half-step enlightened masters from Frigid Star sect were going to destroy Lin's escort agency? I think the interspatial ring you lost belongs to Frigid Star sect. Now that you've lost it, they'll come looking for you. Yi Xian transmitted through voice transmission. What should we do now? Ling Kai was silent. Don't worry. I'll help you get through 2 days later. Yi Xian said. In 2 days' time, his cultivation base would increase to 7th grade Immortal Venerable. At that time, the sky-breaking ape god and the others would be able to reenact the scene before time reversal. Previously, he was 1 step slower. He only broke through the void and returned after hearing the notification of Lin Qi's death. Now, he was guarding Lin's escort agency, waiting for the arrival of Frigid Star sect. He was now a 7th grade Immortal Venerable. As long as the people of Frigid Star sect came, he would kill them all. In these 2 days, Lin's escort agency didn't do anything. Although Ling Kai had passed on Yi Xian's message, the other party didn't take it seriously. How could a mere escort agency destroy Lin's escort agency? However, the employer didn't come. Sure enough, 2 days later. Not good. A large group of people came from the northwest. All of them are high-level immortal emperors. There are also 3 half-step enlightened masters. An expert from the Lin's escort agency rushed in. The entire Lin's escort agency was in an uproar. Could it be that what Ling Kai said before was true? Why was the item in the dart so precious? Lin's escort agency's branch leader, come out. A half-step Taoist master who was killed by the sky-breaking godly ape shouted in the sky above the Lin family's escort agency. Then, the elites of the Lin escort agency leaped out one by one. One of them was the leader of the Lin escort agency, Lin Miao. You are? Lin Miao asked in surprise. However, the other party did not answer his question. Instead, he took out a portrait and said, "This person, was he the one who asked you to carry the goods?" Lin Miao glanced at the portrait but didn't recognize it. However, his grandson, Lin Qi, recognized it because the person in the portrait was his employer. "Your Excellency, are you here with ill intentions?" Lin Miao asked directly. "Cut the crap and hand over the dart. Otherwise, the entire Lin's escort agency will be in chaos." The half-step perfected person in the lead said. This sentence was indeed a threat to Lin Miao, but the Lin's escort agency was a company of integrity. Firstly, they could not reveal the employer's identity. Secondly, they could protect the dart with all their might. Back then, when the employer asked Lin Qi to carry the goods, he only said that there was something important inside. However, he did not choose the highest-level escorts. Under normal circumstances, the more precious the item was, the more powerful the person would choose to escort it. However, this employer only hired Lin Qi and a few rank 6 celestial emperors. Naturally, no one would take it seriously. Unexpectedly, this was a smokescreen. Even the half-step perfected person wanted the item inside. This was troublesome. Lin Miao was sure that this was a disaster for the Lin's escort agency. If they did not handle this properly, they might really be wiped out. Helplessly, he could only compromise. He said, "That dart was delivered a few days ago. However, it was robbed by a rank 9 celestial emperor in black. My grandson was injured because of it." A man in black? The half-step perfected person in the lead was shocked. They had indeed sent some elders out. Could it be that some of the elders had found out and retrieved the item? Of course, he did not fully believe it. Just in case, he had to take some action. "Kill them." The half-step perfected person in the lead shouted. What? When Lin Miao heard this, he immediately drew his weapon. It seemed that today's battle was unavoidable. That day, Yi Xian did not warn the Lin's escort agency. Hence, the Lin's escort agency was wiped out. After turning back time, although Yi Xian did warn them, the Lin's escort agency did not take it seriously. However, Yi Xian was nearby today. With him around, the Lin's escort agency should not have a problem surviving this disaster. Little monkey, it's your turn. In the distance, Yi Xian summoned the sky-splitting divine ape and charged over. Previously, they had wiped out the Cold Star Sect's team by themselves. Today, with the help of Lin Miao and the others, it was naturally easier. The sky-splitting divine ape charged into the crowd and smashed anyone from the Cold Star Sect on sight. What? The three half-step perfected person were shocked. Before they could react, 2 rank 9 celestial emperors had died. How was this possible? In their plan, they would kill Lin Miao and the others and search their souls. However, they did not expect that a little monkey would suddenly appear and threaten them. Lin Miao was filled with fighting spirit when he saw that help had arrived. Although he was afraid of the Cold Star Sect's background, the other party wanted to wipe out the Lin's escort agency. No matter what, he had to fight. The sky-splitting divine ape's strength was terrifying. It suppressed the 3 half-step perfected person while fighting 1 against 3. With Lin Miao's help, it finished off the 3 half-step perfected person faster than before. As for the others, they were quickly dealt with by Old Tree and the others. This battle was much faster than before. After this battle, Lin Miao and the others from the Lin's escort agency were shocked. The team that threatened them this time was much stronger than the Lin's escort agency. There were 3 half-step perfected person. Originally, the Lin's escort agency was supposed to be wiped out. However, now that the other party was dead, they heaved a sigh of relief. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian quickly cleaned up the battlefield. This time, he had helped the Lin's escort agency. Naturally, the spoils of war belonged to him. Lin Miao, Uncle Li Lin Qi, and the others were all stunned when they saw Yi Xian come out. Yi Xian had helped them resolve the disaster just now? Gulp. One had to know that Yi Xian had asked Ling Kai to remind them. However, they did not take it seriously and thought that it was just a normal escort. After all, the employer was only a rank 7 celestial emperor. The goods could not be that good. At most, they would just have to compensate. However, they did not expect that the escort would be so important that the Cold Star Sect directly sent 3 half-step perfected person. Chapter 18:11. Alright, the matter is settled, but I'm afraid the Frigid Star Sect won't let this go. It's up to you whether you want to leave or stay. Yi Xian turned to look at Lin Miao and the others. The reason he helped the Lin clan's escort agency was because of Ling Kai. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bothered to turn back time. With that, Yi Xian left Lin Miao, Lin Qi, and the others with a handsome back view. This time, he was going to the Frigid Star Sect to investigate the Black Dragon Scale and find out what kind of treasure it was. He speculated that the Black Dragon Scale might have been the Frigid Star Sect's treasure, but it was stolen by a thief and the Frigid Star Sect sent a large number of experts to search for it. The black-clothed man was an elder of the Frigid Star Sect. After obtaining the treasure, he might have wanted to keep it for himself. Thinking about it, it was indeed possible. However, Yi Xian would have to wait for the Frigid Star Sect to figure out how to use the Black Dragon Scale. At their current speed, it would take them a few days. During this time, Yi Xian's cultivation level increased again, reaching the 8th grade of the Celestial Venerable Realm. Old Tree, Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian, and the Sky-Breaking Ape God were all 3rd grade Celestial Emperors. The sect master of the Frigid Star Sect seemed to be a 2nd grade half-step perfected being, nicknamed the Frigid Star Sage. However, apart from him, a 2nd stage half-step enlightened being, there were only 2 1st stage half-step enlightened beings left. With the Sky-Breaking Ape God's strength, it wouldn't be a problem to destroy the Frigid Star Sect. Of course, Yi Xian wanted to find out the use of the Black Dragon Scale before he destroyed the Frigid Star Sect. Perhaps he would spare their lives then. Soon, Yi Xian arrived at the Frigid Star Sect. This sect had only risen recently and was not considered weak. Since you have the strength, there's no need to be afraid. Let's just go. Yi Xian summoned Old Tree, Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian, and Luo Luo. Kill. In an instant, Old Tree and the others charged in. "Who are you?" The guarding disciples of the Frigid Star sect shouted angrily. However, these disciples were only 5th or 6th grade celestial emperors. They were unable to stop Old Tree and the others. Super Devour. Xian followed behind the Old Tree and used Super Devour on these people, forcibly sucking them into his planting space. Ever since the establishment of the Frigid Star sect, no one had ever dared to brazenly trespass. After Xian and the others rushed in, a few 9th grade immortal emperor elders came out to kill them. "Which scoundrel dares to FFF?" Before an elder could finish his words, Old Tree sent him flying with a punch. At the same time, his arm was ripped off and his interspatial ring was taken away by Xian. The Old Tree was now a 3rd-stage demon emperor. In addition, he had been strengthened by the soul-generating liquid from the necromancer kettle, so his physique was extremely tough. He could easily fight opponents 6 levels above him. A mere 9th grade celestial emperor was nothing in his eyes. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. They could feel that Old Tree's cultivation was not high, but he was able to send a 9th grade celestial emperor elder flying with a punch. How was this possible? Immediately, someone sent an order to the 2 half-step perfected persons elders and the sect master of the Frigid Star sect. However, at this moment, "Where is the sect master of the Frigid Star sect?" Xian shouted angrily. After a while, 3 figures rushed out. All of them were half-step perfected persons. One of them was a middle-aged man who was a 2nd grade half-step perfected person. "Who are you?" The sect master of the Frigid Star sect could not help but ask when he saw Xian. Xian didn't answer this question. Instead, he directly took out the half of the black dragon scale and said, "This half of the dragon scale is in my hands. As far as I know, this originally belonged to your Cold Star sect?" The higher-ups of the Frigid Star sect were shocked when they saw the half-dragon scale. "You're the thief?" The sect master of the Frigid Star sect trembled. "I don't know who stole it, but I got it from your Cold Star sect's elder. No matter what, this thing is mine now. I came here to ask you guys, what exactly is this dragon scale?" Xian directly asked. This half-dragon scale was originally a treasure of the Frigid Star sect. Not only did Xian get his hands on it, but he even came here to ask how to use it. This was a little too arrogant. A mere celestial venerable dares to speak to the sect master like this? A half-step perfected person shouted angrily. "If you know what's good for you, hand over the dragon scale yourself. Perhaps the sect master will spare your life." Another half-step perfected person said. As for the sect master of the Frigid Star sect, he did not speak. He just watched coldly. An 8th grade celestial venerable and several 3rd grade celestial emperors dared to attack the Frigid Star sect. If one were to say that Xian didn't have a background, that would be absolutely impossible. Before the sect master of the Frigid Star sect could speak, Xian said coldly, "Since you won't speak, I'll have to do it myself." "Go." Xian did not waste time with the other party. He immediately ordered the Old Tree and the others to attack. Shameless boasting. A half-step perfected person elder shouted angrily. He charged toward Xian, preparing to take back the dragon scale. However, in the next moment he was in trouble. Nether soul-shattering strike. Grasp of the underworld. Claw of the demon god. Old Tree, Azura Ghost Lord, and Luo Luo launched a joint attack. At the same time, Luo Luo put on the mystic divine armor. After putting on the mystic divine armor, her combat strength skyrocketed. Bang! Amidst a few screams, the half-step perfected person's chest was penetrated, and he died immediately. When his corpse fell from the sky, the surrounding people were so shocked that they could not speak. Even the sect master of the Frigid Star sect doubted his own eyes. A half-step perfected person was killed by a few juniors who were not even 5th grade celestial emperors. How was this possible? In fact, the Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord's attacks were not too bad. The truly powerful one was Luo Luo. Luo Luo was a heavenly loathsome fox, and she was 1 grade higher than the Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord. She was also wearing the mystic divine armor. Her strength was actually enough to fight against the sky-splitting divine ape. Of course, this was referring to the sky-splitting divine ape without the mystic divine armor. "Bastard, you're courting death." The sect master of the Frigid Star sect was furious. He immediately joined forces with another half-step perfected person and charged toward Xian and the others. However, The real trump card was yet to come. Sky-splitting divine ape. Yi Xian's eyes flashed. Sky-splitting appeared beside Luo Luo. Then, the mystic divine armor that Wei Zhentian had transformed into turned around and donned on Sky-splitting. Although Sky-splitting was a 4th-grade celestial emperor, his strength was much stronger than Luo Luo, who was a 5th-grade celestial emperor. Heaven-startling 108 rod strikes. 108 stick shadows fell from the sky and smashed into that 1st-grade half-step enlightened being with lightning speed. Bang! This half-step perfected person of the frigid star sect's body directly exploded, and he died instantly. Chapter 1812. Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect, I advise you to surrender. Otherwise, you'll be the next one to die. Yi Xian's voice rang out slowly. The Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect raised an eyebrow. He felt that he was in deep trouble this time. What do you want? The Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect asked through gritted teeth. I told you that I'm here to ask questions, Yi Xian said and took out the dragon scale again. If it weren't for his low cultivation level, he would have killed the Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect and searched his soul. Although he had plenty of time in the planting space, he couldn't search the Sect Master's soul there, so it was better to ask questions. The Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect thought for a moment and asked, If I tell you, will you leave? No, I'll at least rob you before leaving, but I'll leave you alive. Yi Xian shook his head. You. The Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect was about to explode from anger, but he felt that he couldn't win against Yi Xian and the others, so he decided to compromise. I found this half of the dragon scale by chance when I was traveling outside. After studying it, I realized that it would make my attack stronger. Unexpectedly, it was stolen by a thief. The Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect replied. Studying the dragon scale will make your attack stronger? Yi Xian was confused. How could this dragon scale have such an effect? What about the other half of the dragon scale? Yi Xian asked again. The other half is with my cousin. When we found it, it was already in 2 pieces. The Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect said. Your cousin? Where? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. I'm from the Fenghua family, so is my cousin. However, the Fenghua family is much stronger than the Frigid Star Sect, the Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect suddenly said. Yi Xian knew that the Sect Master wanted to use the Fenghua family to pressure him, but it wouldn't work. Fine, in that case, I won't destroy the Frigid Star Sect, but, Yi Xian said, then his mind moved. The sky-breaking ape god suddenly attacked. What? The Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect had not expected Yi Xian to go back on his word, but he did not know that Yi Xian was playing with words. Yi Xian wouldn't destroy the Frigid Star Sect, but Yi Xian would absorb the entire Frigid Star Sect into the planting space. The sky-breaking ape god went all out, and the Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect was instantly subdued. Then, the Sect Master was severely wounded, and Yi Xian put him into the planting space under threats and promises. Then, the other members of the Frigid Star Sect were naturally taken into the planting space as well. Once they entered the planting space, their lives would no longer be in their hands. Now, even Yi Xian had a way to deal with the Sect Master of the Frigid Star Sect. The Wind-Fire family has a rank 4 half-step enlightened being. The Sect Master's cousin, Fenghua Yue, is the young master of the Wind-Fire family, a rank 3 half-step enlightened being. Yi Xian thought to himself. A rank 4 half-step enlightened being wasn't something he could deal with now. However, a little more time would be enough for him. I didn't expect this half of the dragon scale to have such an effect. After studying it for a while, I found that when I attacked, there was a strange black energy that increased my attack power. Yi Xian was very surprised. He didn't notice it before, but now that he thought about it, the attacks of those half-step enlightened beings did have such an ability. At that time, he thought it was because of the Frigid Star Sect's moves. Yi Xian let the old tree, Azura Ghost Lord, and the others study the dragon scale together. He didn't expect to obtain such a treasure that could increase their overall combat power by a lot. The Frigid Star Sect was quite a distance away from the Windfire family, but with the old tree's speed, 7 days was enough. A few days later. Ding. Host has broken through. Currently, you are a rank 9 immortal venerable. Ding. Inferno Ghostly Lord, Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian, and Sky-Breaking Ape God have broken through. Currently, you are a rank 4 immortal emperor. Yi Xian and the others broke through again. Now they didn't lack cultivation resources at all, and could break through every once in a while. Although he had bewitched points, his current cultivation speed was much faster than before. Soon, he arrived at the Windfire family. The Windfire family wasn't weak, and was 100 times stronger than the Frigid Star sect. If he rushed in recklessly, it would be impossible. Therefore, Xian decided to find the cousin of the sect master of the Frigid Star sect and control him. Originally, Xian wanted to control the sect master of the Frigid Star sect. However, the gap between Xian and him was too big, and the soul I couldn't control him. Therefore, he could only use other methods. Fortunately, there were still some young people in the Windfire family who hadn't reached the Immortal Emperor realm. Ding! Control successful. Xian casually controlled one of them, and then disguised himself as him to infiltrate the Windfire family. The person I controlled is called Feng Huiyuan. His seniority is too low, so he probably won't be able to meet Feng Huiyue, Xian thought inwardly. He had been wandering around the Windfire family for an entire day, but he still couldn't find a way to approach Feng Huiyue. Since that was the case, he could only make a scene. Old Tree, you guys focus on the third stage half-step Taoist master and find Feng Huiyue, Xian said to the others. Understood. Old Tree nodded. Half a dragon scale already had such an effect. If it was a whole one, the effect would be even greater. After Old Tree and the others appeared, they locked onto the aura and rushed toward the nearest third stage Taoist master. As for Xian, he chose to continue hiding. Who is it? A strange aura suddenly appeared in the sky above the Windfire family, and it immediately attracted the attention of the Windfire family's experts. At first, it was just a few high-level immortal emperors, but these people weren't a match for Old Tree and the others. Therefore, the next ones to move were half-step Taoist masters. The fourth stage Immortal Emperor Old Tree's strength was comparable to a first stage half-step Taoist master, and Luo could fight against a second stage half-step Taoist master. In addition, they still had the heaven-splitting Divine Ape, which was their trump card, so they had the strength to instantly kill a third stage half-step Taoist master. After all, they didn't even have the mystic divine armor. The Windfire family had a total of 3 third-stage half-step Taoist masters, so Xian had a 1/3 chance of finding them. However, his luck wasn't very good. The first one he encountered wasn't Feng Huiyue, but someone else. Although Xian wanted to change his target, the third-stage half-step Taoist master was already pestering him. Therefore, Xian had no choice but to summon the heaven-splitting divine ape to fight. However, while they were fighting, the old ancestor of the Windfire family came out. Helpless, Xian and the others could only be forcefully recalled by Xian. Those people, where did they come from? The people of the Windfire family were full of questions. How could they appear out of nowhere and then disappear? At this time, in a corner of the Windfire family. Let's wait a few more days. Wait until I break through to the Immortal Emperor realm, then we'll fight again. Chapter 1813. Several days later, Xian successfully broke through to rank 1 Immortal Emperor. As for the Old Tree and the others, they were rank 5 Immortal Emperors. Luo was rank 6 Demon Emperor. Moreover, the heaven-breaking ape god had fully recovered and could fight again. That day, Xian had found the wrong person. Today, there were only 2 targets left. Thus, there was a 50% chance of finding the right person. As long as he found Feng Huiyue and forcibly took the ring, his mission would be complete. There's a rank 3 true master in both the north and the west. Let's find the one in the north. Xian narrowed his eyes and summoned the Old Tree and the others again. The appearance of this aura immediately attracted the attention of the Feng Hua family's upper echelons. Previously, they had been disturbed by the Old Tree and the others. Although they didn't die, they were robbed of a lot of their belongings and most importantly, their face. This time, they must capture the Old Tree. However, this time, Xian was right. This time, his target was the cousin of the sect master of the Icy Star sect, Feng Huiyue. Found you. Heaven-breaking, go. Xian raised his eyebrows and summoned the heaven-breaking ape god. The moment it appeared, it ruthlessly smashed at Feng Huiyue. Heaven-shocking 108 stick strikes. This move instantly injured Feng Huiyue. This was after the heaven-breaking ape god had shown mercy. Otherwise, Feng Huiyue would have been instantly killed. Next, the Old Tree quickly flew over and took the ring. Then, Yi Xian cooperated with the planting space to take it back. Indeed, there was the other half of the dragon scale in the ring. Ding! The world-destroying dragon scale can be completed. Do you want to proceed? Hearing this, Yi Xian was slightly startled and immediately agreed. Ding! The world-destroying dragon scale is completed. Ding! The world-destroying dragon scale can fuse with the Azura Ghost Lord. Do you want to proceed? This time, Yi Xian was shocked. The world-destroying dragon scale could fuse with the Azura Ghost Lord. In other words, the Azura Ghost Lord could advance again? Yi Xian almost laughed out loud. Of course he had to agree. Although comprehending the world-destroying dragon scale could increase one's attack, if the Azura Ghost Lord could advance again, its strength would definitely not be weak. Whatever fuse. Yi Xian opened his eyes wide. Ding! Fusion. Azura Ghost Lord has evolved into World Annihilation Ghost Dragon. Immortal Eye Unicorn Bloodline. This time, he had really made a profit. Not only did he evolve, the Immortal Emperor Bloodline, the Unicorn Immortal Evolve, and Immortal Bloodline. One had to know that Yi Xian had just been able to summon a second-level Qilin. Now that he'd advanced once, he could summon a third-level Qilin. God. Scales was covered dragon scales Emma's. Was God. Was. Devil. Was. Although the Azura Ghost Lord's realm did not increase, Yi Xian knew that his strength had undergone a tremendous change. This was only the transformation of his form. His skills had also advanced. The grip of the underworld had evolved into the world-destroying dragon claw. The Eye of Azura had evolved into the Eye of Destruction. The Azura Divine Light, Azura Transformation, and Azura Godslayer had evolved into the Black Dragon Flame Blast, Ghost Dragon Transformation, and World-Destroying Dragon Roar. World-Destroying Ghost Dragon. It's time for you to show off. Go. Yi Xian turned to the other side and said to the World-Destroying Ghost Dragon. In the next moment, the World-Destroying Ghost Dragon used the Ghost Dragon Transformation and turned into a huge black dragon. Previously, the Azura Ghost Lord needed Death Chi to use the Eye of Azura. Now he did not need it. Once the world-destroying Ghost Dragon transformed, the mighty black scales emitted a terrifying aura that suppressed everyone below the half-step Enlightened Master level. What is that? A third-grade half-step Enlightened Master of the Wind and Fire family saw the world-destroying Ghost Dragon. His body trembled violently. Before he could react, a black dragon's aura approached him. Black Dragon Flame Blast. In an instant, the third-grade half-step Enlightened Master was engulfed. However, he did not die. Although the world-destroying Ghost Dragon was much stronger, it was not at the level of the sky-splitting Divine Ape. However, this was not bad at all. Tisk. TSK. TSK. Rib Goo's strength has left me in the dust again. Old Tree sneered and quickly took the interspatial ring. At the same time, the fourth-grade half-step Enlightened Master of the Wind and Fire family had also made his move. Where did this evil creature come from? How dare you behave so atrociously in my Wind and Fire family? The old ancestor of the Wind and Fire family roared in anger. At this moment, Yi Xian had also summoned the sky-splitting Divine Ape and went up to meet the old ancestor. So what if he was a fourth-grade half-step Enlightened Master? He would still beat him up. Now with the Mystic God armor, the old tree, the world-destroying Ghost Dragon, and the sky-splitting Divine Ape were enough to fight the entire Wind and Fire family. The battle lasted for a long time. Because he did not want to start a massacre, Yi Xian held back a little. Otherwise, the entire Wind and Fire family would have been annihilated. Under the cooperation of the old tree, the world-destroying Ghost Dragon, and the sky-splitting Divine Ape, the entire Wind and Fire family was utterly defeated and quickly defeated. After the old tree and the rest had ransacked the Wind and Fire family, Yi Xian quickly put them away. The people of the Wind and Fire family felt that the old tree and the rest did not want to kill them. Adding on the fact that they were not strong enough, they ordered the old tree and the rest to ransack. What's going on? Where did this group of people come from? How did they come and go without a trace? How did they do it? The old ancestor of the Wind and Fire family was shocked. However, he already knew that the other party was not targeting the Wind and Fire family, but the half-black dragon scale in the Wind and Fire family. Although they had lost the half-black dragon scale, they were lucky to be able to protect the family. At this moment, Yi Xian, who was still hiding in the Wind and Fire family, could not help but smile. This time, the Azura Ghost Lord had evolved into the world-destroying Ghost Dragon. After transforming into a Ghost Dragon, his strength was actually on par with the sky-splitting Divine Ape. That was really awesome. However, the evolved world-destroying Ghost Dragon seemed to be unable to wear the mystic divine armor. Hence, its strength was still slightly weaker than the sky-splitting Divine Ape. However, Xianxia felt that the world-destroying Ghost Dragon had hopes of surpassing the sky-splitting Divine Ape. This was because the Necromancer Kettle could continuously refine soul-generating liquid to increase the world-destroying Ghost Dragon's strength. Not only that, the evolved world-destroying Ghost Dragon was not in its complete form. It could still continuously merge with the world-destroying Dragon Scale. A complete Dragon Scale could increase the strength of the world-destroying Ghost Dragon by 1%. If it could obtain a piece of dragon bone, it could increase its strength by 10%. This world-destroying Dragon Scale, I wonder what kind of creature it is. It actually has such an effect. If there were 10,000 Dragon Scales, wouldn't the world-destroying Ghost Dragon's strength increase by 100 times? Xianxia raised his eyebrows, his expression rippling. 100 times strength. How strong was that? Chapter 18:14. If the world-destroying ghostly dragon obtained 100 million world-destroying dragon scales, its strength would increase by 10,000 times. 10,000 times, what kind of concept was that? Xianxia did not even dare to think about it. However, such a powerful object would definitely be accompanied by some troubles. Right at that moment, a suffocating aura suddenly descended. The moment this aura appeared, everyone in the Fenghua clan, including Xianxia and the fourth stage half-step enlightened master, were unable to move. That's strange. I clearly felt it. Why did it disappear when I got here? A strange voice entered everyone's ears. This aura was so strong that even the fourth stage enlightened master Fenghua clan was suppressed. Its strength was definitely not that simple. Coincidentally, Xianxia's eyes swept across a white figure in the air. It was a middle-aged man wearing white clothes. He's so strong. Could it be that he's an enlightened master? Xianxia's Xianji immortal heart could not help but beat violently. At that moment, he was unable to move. If someone were to harm him, he would be in trouble. No, that's impossible. The Black Destruction Dragon has been exterminated for many years. What I felt should be the dragon scales scattered everywhere. The middle-aged man shook his head again. This sentence still entered everyone's ears. When Xianxia heard it, he could not help but think of the world-destroying ghostly dragon. That dragon scale was the Black Destruction Dragon scale? From this middle-aged man's words, it seemed that the Black Destruction Dragon had been exterminated by someone. Its corpse had been divided up, and its scales were scattered everywhere. With this, Xianxia was certain that this middle-aged man was attracted by the world-destroying ghostly dragon. After all, the world-destroying ghostly dragon was the product of the fusion of the Black Destruction Dragon's dragon scales. At that moment, Xianxia felt the restraints on his body suddenly disappear. When he focused his eyes, he saw that the middle-aged man in white had already left. Huff huff. Xianxia let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that there was nothing for him to do. We can't stay here for long. Let's retreat first. At that moment, Xianxia directly broke through the void and left the Fenghua clan. This Black Destruction Dragon did not sound like a good person. If that middle-aged man in white returned, it would be troublesome. Xianxia used the eyes of the void several times. After leaving the Fenghua clan, he let out a sigh of relief. Although he did not know the identity of the Black Destruction Dragon, he was sure that he was not someone he could fight with his current state. However, all in all, it was a close call this time. After all, not only did he obtain the other half of the dragon scale, but he also helped the Azura Ghost Lord evolve into the World Devastation Ghostly Dragon. His strength had increased tremendously. Rib. The World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon sensed that there was another dragon scale nearby. Haha, Ribgu now has the potential to surpass Heavenbreaker. Xianxia was overjoyed. This was naturally good news for him. Ribgu said that the dragon scale he sensed is north of the Fenghua clan. Let's go. Xianxia immediately continued on his journey. Ribgu sensed that it was north of the Fenghua clan. The exact location was difficult to determine. Therefore, Xianxia had to summon Ribgu and let him reconfirm. Xianxia had to be very careful because he was afraid that he would attract the attention of the middle-aged man in white. After traveling for 2 days, Yi Xian arrived at a city. Then, he summoned the Black Destruction Dragon. Is it still further north? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows and quickly left the city, heading north. However, not long after he left, the middle-aged man in white appeared again. Strange, there's an aura similar to the Black Destruction Dragon again. Could it be the Black Destruction Dragon's bastard? The middle-aged man in white thought to himself. This time, he decided to investigate thoroughly. He first suppressed everyone in the city, then forcibly checked everyone's Qian rings. However, there was no result because Yi Xian had already left through the void. Yi Xian was very careful now. He only dared to summon the Black Destruction Dragon in crowded places. If he summoned it out in the wild, it would be troublesome if the middle-aged man in white sensed it. At this time, Yi Xian continued on his journey. Ding! Host has broken through. Currently a second-grade immortal emperor. Ding! Black Destruction Dragon, Wei Zhentian, Flaming Underworld Ghostly Lord, Sky-Breaking Ape God have broken through. Currently a 6th-grade immortal emperor. During the journey, Yi Xian's cultivation level had broken through again. His strength had increased by quite a bit. However, when he summoned the Black Destruction Dragon again in the city, he found that the dragon scale was nearby. It's not in the city, but in a clan outside the city. Yi Xian squinted his eyes and immediately left through the void. He was very cautious now. When he entered the city, he set up a void tracker. He had to be careful. Then, he quickly rushed to the clan. This clan was even more powerful than the Windfire clan. There was a 5th-grade half-step immortal in the clan. There's no time to lose. I have to act now. Yi Xian squinted his eyes and summoned the Black Destruction Dragon, Old Tree, Wei Zhentian, and Sky-Breaking Ape God. One word: kill. Who are you? How dare you trespass into the He clan? A loud roar resounded in the clan. At the same time, the Black Destruction Dragon accurately sensed the location of the other dragon scale. He immediately rushed over with Old Tree and Sky-Breaking Ape God. Coincidentally, the person holding the dragon scale was none other than the 5th-stage half-step Taoist master of the He clan. Netherworld Soul-Shattering Strike. Heaven-Shocking 108 Strikes. Black Destruction Dragon's Eye. Black Dragon Flame Wave. Old Tree used several trump cards and attacked the 5th-grade half-step immortal with powerful attacks. Due to the importance of this matter, Yi Xian had the intention to kill. After all, he had killed many people to steal their treasures before. One more time was nothing. Old Tree used several trump cards and ambushed him. The 5th-grade half-step immortal was directly crippled. In the next moment, Old Tree rushed over and took the interspatial ring. Just now, the 5th-grade half-step immortal was comprehending the dragon scale. After the incident in the clan, he put it away. Now, the dragon scale no longer belonged to him. Ding! The Black Destruction Dragon has fused with a dragon scale. The first Black Destruction Dragon scale allowed Azura Ghost Lord to evolve into the Black Destruction Dragon. The second Black Destruction Dragon scale increased the Black Destruction Dragon's strength by 1%. Chapter 1815. Got it. Let's go. Yi Xian immediately tore open the void and put the Old Tree and the others into the plant space before passing through. At the same time, he left Wei Zhentian in the family to see what would happen next. Sure enough, the middle-aged man in white appeared again. Too late again. What is this thing that has such a similar aura to the Black Devastator Dragon? The middle-aged man in white raised his eyebrows and investigated again, even searching their souls. This time, he finally found something. He saw the figure of the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon, the Old Tree, and Heaven Breaker in the He family's memories. This thing is quite different from the Black Devastator Dragon, but its aura is indeed similar to the Black Devastator Dragon. Where did it come from? The middle-aged man in white thought to himself. He decided to search the souls of all the He family members. However, he found no clues. At this time, somewhere outside the He family, Yi Xian was so scared that he couldn't speak. My whereabouts can't be leaked, but this middle-aged man in white was able to arrive so quickly. What kind of cultivation level has he reached? Yi Xian couldn't help but gulp. He had calculated that the middle-aged man in white only took 1 minute to arrive. One had to know that it took him several days to get here. He estimated that the middle-aged man in white's strength had surpassed that of a perfected person, and was at the level of a perfected cultivator. Not to mention a perfected cultivator, even a perfected person, or even a half-step perfected person, was not someone Xian could deal with. He couldn't be discovered by the middle-aged man in white. Fortunately, I left quickly. Otherwise, I would have been in trouble. Xian sighed in relief. He was safe for now, but he had to be more careful in the future. The middle-aged man in white was very fast. As soon as the aura of the world devastator ghostly dragon appeared, he quickly rushed over. If he was nearby, Xian would be caught red-handed. Fortunately, Xian had the time reversal skill, which gave him a lot of confidence. Ribbone said that the aura of a dragon scale has appeared in the northeast of the He family. As Xian thought in his heart, he quickly left his original spot. Due to the time reversal skill, Xian didn't need to rest to move. At most, he could just go back in time. This time, Xian spent a lot of time. During this time his cultivation level increased again, and he became a third-grade immortal emperor. A city. The city lord of this city was a 6th-rank half-step Taoist master, so Xian reckoned that the dragon scale should be in his hands. Kill! Immediately, Old Shu and the others charged into the city lord's mansion. Then they directly targeted the aura of that rank 6 half-step Taoist master and launched their attacks. Now, they had to seize every second to get the dragon scale before the middle-aged man in white arrived. The scene from that day replayed itself again. The dragon scale was indeed in the hands of the city lord. He was seriously injured by Old Tree and the others. Then, his interspatial ring was snatched away. Let's go! Xian quickly broke through the void and left with Old Tree and the others. Sure enough, the middle-aged man in white came again not long after. He searched their souls like before. It broke through again. How can it be so easy for these people to improve their cultivation level? The middle-aged man in white was shocked. It had only been a few days, but the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon had improved from a 6th-grade Immortal Emperor to a 7th-grade Immortal Emperor. Moreover, the middle-aged man in white knew that the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon was collecting the World Annihilation Dragon Scale. Could it be that the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon's cultivation level had something to do with the World Annihilation Dragon Scale? If this goes on, there will be another World Annihilation Black Dragon in the future. No, I can't let them go on like this. Thinking of this, the middle-aged man in white threw out a ray of golden light to inform his companions. At this time, Xian was already on his way, gloating. After the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon had completed its advancement, it had integrated 2 World Annihilation Dragon Scales, which increased its strength by 2%. Although it was only 2%, it could continue to improve in the future. After all, it was not a cultivation level. If it could obtain 10,000 World Annihilation Dragon Scales, it might be able to fight opponents 1 level higher. If it grew up in the future, its combat power would be extremely strong. This time, Xian was still heading north. However, the aura of the dragon scales that the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon sensed was much stronger than before. This time, it might be several World Annihilation Dragon Scales. It took Xian a lot of time to travel. This time, it took 7 days. During this time, Xian had another breakthrough in his cultivation level, reaching the 4th-grade Immortal Emperor. Old Tree and the others were 8th-grade Immortal Emperors. As for Luo, she had reached the 9th-grade Immortal Emperor. She was only 1 step away from becoming a half-step perfected person. During these 7 days, Xian also chose to stay in a few cities. Then, he summoned the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon to sense the location of the dragon scales. After 7 days, he arrived in front of a force called the Bone Eroding Sect. It was not weak. It had 2 7th-grade half-step perfected persons. Xian and the others' cultivation level was not enough to be looked at in the Bone Eroding Sect. However, they had always challenged those of a higher cultivation level. If they went all out, so what if they became enemies with the entire Bone Eroding Sect? Previously, the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon had sensed the aura of a large number of World Annihilation Dragon Scales in the Bone Eroding Sect. There were at least 5 of them. 5 World Annihilation Dragon Scales could increase the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon's strength by 5%. It was very good. Kill! Immediately, Xian ordered Old Tree and the others to kill their way in. Meanwhile, he disguised himself as a disciple and entered the Bone Eroding Sect. As they entered, the entire Bone Eroding Sect was set off a storm of blood. Treasures like the World Annihilation Dragon Scales were usually obtained by those who were capable. Moreover, they should be in the hands of the upper echelons of the bone-eroding sect. Therefore, Yi Xian ordered Old Tree, the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon, and the Sky-Breaking Godly Ape wearing the Mystic Divine Armor to find the sect leader of the bone-eroding sect. The sect leader of the bone-eroding sect was a 7th-grade half-step perfected person. Moreover, he had been studying the World Annihilation Dragon Scales for a long time. He was not weak. However, his current strength was not enough to face the combined forces of Old Tree and the others. Heaven-shocking 108 strikes. Nether soul-shattering strike. Black Dragon Flame Wave. Old Tree used several trump cards and aimed them at the sect leader of the bone-eroding sect. Coward, how dare you behave atrociously in my bone-eroding sect? You're courting death. Chapter 18:16. Rumble. The leader of the bone-eroding sect used his cultivation to defeat the combined attack of the three from the Old Tree. However, after the 3 sneak attacks, an aura suddenly appeared behind the leader of the bone-eroding sect. Claw of the Demon God. Luoluo, who had transformed into the sky-loathing fox, clawed at the back of the leader of the bone-eroding sect. Poof! The leader of the bone-eroding sect was pierced through and his heart was crushed. He died instantly. Then, his body and interspatial ring were taken away by Yi Xian. There were 6 destruction dragon scales in the interspatial ring. What a haul! Haha, awesome! Yi Xian grinned, then quickly broke through the void and left the bone-eroding sect. This time, he obtained 6 destruction dragon scales, which increased the strength of the destruction ghost dragon by 6%. It was really good. After a while, the middle-aged man in white appeared again like before. He broke through again. It seems that I can't leave him alone. This guy broke through with the destruction dragon scales. The middle-aged man in white thought to himself. Fortunately, he had already notified the others. They should be here soon to strangle this bastard in the cradle. At this time, in a corner, Yi Xian, who was checking the interspatial ring of the leader of the bone-eroding sect, suddenly found something interesting inside. The leader of the bone-eroding sect used to have more than 6 dragon scales, but as many as 10. Yi Xian's heart trembled. The leader of the bone-eroding sect originally had 10 destruction dragon scales, but there were only 6 in his interspatial ring. The remaining 4 were not in the hands of the other members of the bone-eroding sect. Instead, the leader of the bone-eroding sect had given them to someone else. This person called himself the Black Dragon Envoy. Black Dragon Envoy? Yi Xian could not help but frown. This Black Dragon Envoy specialized in collecting destruction dragon scales and claimed to serve the Black Dragon sect. The Black Dragon sect and Black Dragon Envoy might be related to the Black Destruction Dragon that the middle-aged man in white spoke of. Normal people only need 1 destruction dragon scale. Even if they have 6, the effect won't be 6 times that of 1. It's just a small increase. If that's the case, why collect so many destruction dragon scales? Yi Xian was very puzzled. The bone-eroding sect had offered the 4 pieces to the Black Dragon Envoy. That was tens of thousands of years ago. Over the past tens of thousands of years, the sect leader of the bone-eroding sect had collected 6 more pieces and was preparing to present them to the Black Dragon Envoy. As for the place where they would meet, the bone-eroding sect had marked it on the map. It was in a canyon near the bone-eroding sect. Coincidentally, in a while, it would be time for the bone-eroding sect leader to exchange the dragon scale of destruction for a large amount of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. It was because of this that the bone-eroding sect could rise so quickly. Black Dragon Envoy? See if I don't rob you. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. This time, his luck was really good. Coincidentally, the Black Dragon Envoy was coming to collect the World Annihilation Dragon Scale. At that time, he could rob the Black Dragon Envoy. For the Black Dragon cult to purchase such a large amount of World Annihilation Dragon Scales, there must be a great use for it. Maybe the Black Dragon Envoy also has a lot of World Annihilation Dragon Scales? With that thought in mind, Yi Xian continued his journey. By the time he arrived at the place where the bone-eroding sect leader and the Black Dragon Envoy had agreed to meet, he had already reached the 5th grade Celestial Emperor realm. In fact, he was not very confident because the Black Dragon Envoy might be an enlightened master. This time, he came here to use the Death Hunt token to mark the Black Dragon Envoy. This way, he would know the Black Dragon Envoy's whereabouts. He would plan his next move after he had grown stronger. The next day was the appointed time. Yi Xian waited quietly. Soon, the next day arrived. While waiting quietly, Yi Xian suddenly felt a powerful aura descend. The person was dressed in black and had a mask, so he could not see his face clearly. However, Yi Xian was certain that the person was the Black Dragon envoy. After all, this place was extremely barren and almost no one would come here. Yi Xian immediately used the death hunt token to mark the person in black. "Boy, what are you doing here?" The person in black rushed over and asked in surprise. "Hello, senior. This junior is tired from the journey and is resting here." Yi Xian answered honestly. He was only a 5th grade immortal emperor, not even a half-step enlightened master. The person in black naturally did not take him seriously. "I can't be bothered to kill you. Get lost." The person in black shouted sternly. For someone like him, unless someone offended him, he would not bother to kill. Yes. This junior will leave now." Yi Xian quickly nodded and left. However, he did not really leave. Instead, he watched from afar. This person should be an enlightened master. He's much stronger than the sect leader of the bone-eroding sect. Yi Xian raised an eyebrow. The sect leader of the bone-eroding sect was only a 7th grade half-step enlightened master. This person in black was at least an enlightened master, so it would be more difficult to deal with him. However, Yi Xian decided to give it a try. "Old Tree, World Devastator Ghost Dragon, Sky-Breaking Ape God, go and meet him," Yi Xian said to the 3 of them. Anyway, the 4 Old Tree were all Dharma treasures. Even if they died, they could be revived. Moreover, he had the time reversal skill. If something happened, he could go back to the past. Old Tree and the other 2 immediately charged at the person in black. What? The person in black trembled violently when he sensed the aura of the World Devastator Ghost Dragon. He turned around and saw the 3 Old Tree charging at him. The aura of one of them made the blood in his body go berserk. His blood boiling meant that he was being suppressed. Otherwise, why would his blood boil? Boiling meant that he was trying to break through the suppression. No matter what it was, he would fight first and talk later. A few scumbags who aren't even half-step enlightened masters dare to cause trouble for me? The person in black immediately took out his weapon when he sensed the killing intent of the 3. With a few swings, countless sword chi swept out. The speed of the attack was shockingly fast. Old Tree and the World Devastator Ghost Dragon were instantly killed. Only Sky-Breaking escaped. So strong. Although the Sky-Breaking Ape God managed to escape, he still couldn't escape death. Not only that, even Wei Zhentian was beaten to a pulp. Ding! Inferno Ghostly Lord, World Devastator Ghost Dragon, Wei Zhentian, Sky-Breaking Ape God are dead. System notifications rang out one after another. The sneak attack failed. However, Yi Xian was only testing this time. Firstly, he wanted to test the strength of the person in black. Secondly, he wanted to see his reaction. Thirdly, he wanted to lure the middle-aged man in white over. After the person in black killed Old Tree and the others, he saw the corpses of the Old Tree disintegrate into nothingness. He wanted to search their souls, but he didn't expect this to happen. Chapter 1817. Tesla, that middle-aged man in white has probably already sensed this energy, right? Yi Xian cracked a smile as he stealthily moved away. The sect master of the bone-eroding sect had not come, but the man in black probably would not leave. Once the middle-aged man in white arrived, who knew what would happen? Sure enough, while the man in black was pondering, the middle-aged man in white really did descend just as Yi Xian had predicted. What? The man in black was stunned. Even though he was at the enlightened master level, he had still been suppressed to the point of being unable to move. Just how strong was this man? Where did that aura come from? The middle-aged man in white slowly asked as he looked at the Black Dragon envoy. What energy? The Black Dragon envoy asked in shock. The energy similar to the Black Destruction Dragon. I sensed its appearance here, so I hurried over, the middle-aged man said. This junior does not know. The Black Dragon envoy shook his head. Forget it, I'll do it myself. Without another word, the middle-aged man began to soul-search the Black Dragon envoy. With his level, the soul search took less than a second. After that, he found out the identity of the Black Dragon envoy, the Black Dragon sect, and Elder Shu, the world devastator ghostly dragon, and the sky-breaking ape god that had appeared earlier. Black Dragon Envoy. Black Dragon Cult? The middle-aged man in white was stunned. This faction didn't sound right. It was probably related to the Black Destruction Dragon. In the distance, Xianxia saw that he was unable to learn anything, so he felt that he had failed this test. At this moment, the middle-aged man in white suddenly turned his head, his gaze falling on Xianxia. Although Xianxia's eye of insight could see very far, his cultivation was still higher. Since this middle-aged man could suppress the enlightened master-level Black Dragon Envoy, it was only natural that he could see him. By the time Xianxia reacted, the middle-aged man in white was already in front of him. Once again, he was unable to move. Young man, just now did you see? Before the middle-aged man could finish speaking, he suddenly paused. He felt that Xianxia's energy was very familiar. Perhaps he had seen it somewhere before. Not good. Xianxia paled and hurriedly used his trump card. Time reversal. This white-robed middle-aged man clearly wanted to search his soul. If there was one, the other party would know. Therefore, Xianxia had no other choice. The next moment, he returned to the time before the Black Dragon Envoy arrived. Kid, what are you doing here? Greetings. Senior. This junior is tired from the journey and is resting here. Xianxia repeated his words and then quickly left. Of course, before that, he had already marked the Black Dragon Envoy with the Death Pursuit Order. However, he did not summon the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon this time, so the white-robed middle-aged man should not know about it. Xianxia hid far away, looking at the target location of the death warrant. A day later, the Black Dragon Envoy saw that the bone-eroding sect leader was still there, so he left immediately. And the direction they were heading for was actually the eroding bone sect. Oh no! This Black Dragon Envoy is probably going to pay a visit himself. I hope he doesn't see that middle-aged man in white. Xianxia raised an eyebrow. If he saw it, he would be in trouble. It was not easy for him to find a big target, so he could not be killed just like that. Xianxia had no choice but to follow the Black Dragon Envoy back to the bone-eroding sect. Xianxia spent a lot of time on his way here, so it was natural for him to return now. During this time, he broke through to the 6th grade Immortal Emperor realm. At the same time, the Old Tree, the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon, Xianxia, and the Sky-Breaking Ape God finally broke through to the half-step Immortal realm. I wonder if I can fight the Black Dragon Envoy now. Xianxia thought to himself as he followed behind the Black Dragon Envoy. In order to verify, he decided to return to the bone-eroding sect first and wait for the Black Dragon Envoy's arrival. Anyway, he could use time reversal twice a day. If there were any accidents, he could go back to a few days ago. At most, he would travel for a few more days. It was better to be cautious. This way, time reversal would have a good cooldown. Whoosh! The void door closed, and Xianxia returned to the vicinity of the bone-eroding sect. Fortunately, the bone-eroding sect was in a mess, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. That middle-aged man in white is very fast. If we really want to fight, we have to end it quickly. If we wait for him to arrive, we will be in trouble. Outside the bone-eroding sect, Xianxia thought to himself as he looked at the target of the death warrant in the distance. Soon, he saw the Black Dragon Envoy again. The Black Dragon Envoy also sensed Xianxia's aura and was surprised. It took him 3 days to rush over. How did Xianxia, who was not even a half-step Immortal Master, do it? Without waiting for the Black Dragon Envoy to speak, Xianxia directly attacked. The Old Tree, the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon, Xianxia, the Sky-Breaking Ape God, and Luo, who was already a half-step Immortal Master, all moved out. Netherworld Soul-Shattering Strike. Heaven-Shocking 108 Strikes. Black Dragon Flame Blast. Demon God's Claw. The 4 of them used their ultimate moves in an attempt to kill the Black Dragon Envoy. What a powerful attack! The Black Dragon Envoy was shocked. Although he had fought with Xianxia and won, Xianxia had used time reversal. However, Xianxia had previously used the time reversal skill, so only Xianxia knew about the battle between him and Xianxia. However, Xianxia and the others were now more than 10 times stronger than before. He didn't know if they could defeat the Black Dragon Envoy. An ant-like existence dares to cause trouble for me? The Black Dragon Envoy snorted coldly. Suddenly, he opened his mouth and let out a dragon's roar. These attacks were all blocked by the Black Dragon Envoy's sound wave attack. None of them survived. This time, Yi Xian understood that they were still not a match for the Black Dragon Envoy. Sure enough, the Black Dragon Envoy had some skills. With no other choice, Yi Xian used time reversal again and returned to the past. Now, he only hoped that the Black Dragon Envoy would not encounter the middle-aged man in white. Otherwise, he would be in trouble. The Black Dragon Envoy arrived at the bone-eroding sect. After asking around, he found that the sect master of the bone-eroding sect had been killed. Then, a powerful figure descended and suppressed the entire sect. He also searched the souls of everyone in the bone-eroding sect. Even he couldn't do such a thing. Therefore, the Black Dragon Envoy broke out in a cold sweat and hurriedly left the bone-eroding sect. In the distance, Yi Xian sensed for a moment. When he found that the Black Dragon Envoy had left the bone-eroding sect, he was slightly relieved. At this time, he felt that the Black Dragon Envoy was a fat sheep, and he was a wild wolf that had not yet grown up. As long as he grew to a certain point, he could kill the Black Dragon Envoy. Then, Yi Xian followed the Black Dragon Envoy's back, constantly chasing after him. The Black Dragon Envoy was very fast. However, he would occasionally stay in one place for a day or two. He probably had an agreement with some nearby forces to collect dragon scales of destruction here regularly. He wondered how many of them would be on this trip. Chapter 18:18. Soon, a few days had passed. Ding! Host has broken through. You are now a 7th grade immortal emperor. Ding! Inferno Ghostly Lord, World-Destroying Ghostly Dragon, Wei Zhentian, and Sky-Breaking Ape God have broken through. You are now 2nd grade half-step perfected person. Back then, they were unable to hurt the Black Dragon Envoy. Now that they had broken through again, they should be able to do it, right? Yi Xian thought to himself. Coincidentally, the Black Dragon Envoy had stopped somewhere, as if waiting for a faction to deliver him the scale of annihilation. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian, who was using the Immortal Ascension steps, quickly chased after him. By the time he arrived, he just so happened to see 3 people trading with the Black Dragon Envoy. 9th grade half-step perfected person? Easy. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. With his current strength, he could definitely deal with a half-step perfected person. However, he was not sure about the Black Dragon Envoy. Old Tree, let's go. Immediately, Yi Xian summoned Old Shu and the others through the air, then charged over together. This time, Yi Xian had a feeling that they would succeed. Of course, if they did not succeed, he would continue to follow until he succeeded. The Black Dragon Envoy, who was trading with others, trembled violently when he sensed the aura of the world-destroying ghostly dragon. He had come into contact with the world-destroying ghostly dragon before he reversed time twice. However, this was the first time he encountered the world-destroying ghostly dragon. What's that? The Black Dragon Envoy was shocked, and so were the others. Humph! You are so unlucky to have encountered us. A 9th grade half-step perfected person snorted and turned to attack Old Tree and the others. Old Tree was now a 2nd grade half-step perfected person, and Luo Luo was a 3rd grade half-step perfected person. The two of them together were enough to kill the other party, not to mention the sky-breaking ape god and the world-destroying ghostly dragon. In an instant, the 9th grade half-step perfected person was killed by the others. He did not even have to use his ultimate move. What? The other party was shocked. A few low-level half-step perfected person had actually killed a peak half-step perfected person? How is that possible? You have some tricks up your sleeve. You're courting death. The Black Dragon emissary would definitely do it himself. After all, the 3 of them had cooperated with him to help him find the dragon scales of annihilation. If they died, how could he collect them? Almost all of the people he had found were vicious and evil. The sect master of the bone-eroding sect was the same. After all, it was the easiest way to obtain the apocalyptic dragon scale by killing others for treasures. They're finally making a move. Let's fight. From afar, Yi Xian gave the order through the eyes of several of the monsters. This time, they were determined to capture the Black Dragon Envoy. Undying Fighting Soul. Annihilation Dragon Claw. Flaming Underworld Soul-Locking Chain. 9-Tailed Coil. The Old Tree, the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon, and Luo Luo all unleashed their control skills. Their goal was to allow the sky-splitting Divine Ape, who was wearing the Mystic Divine Armor, to deal a fatal blow to the Black Dragon Envoy. In the face of so many attacks, the Black Dragon Envoy did the same as before. He opened his mouth and a sound wave attack spread out, instantly nullifying all the attacks. However, the sky-splitting divine ape had already turned into a streak of light and charged toward him. Heaven-startling 108 strikes. 108 strikes poured down and hit the Black Dragon Envoy's shoulder. In an instant, the Black Dragon Envoy was like a deflated balloon, falling from the sky. If they really had to rank their strength, Wei Zhentian was the weakest, followed by the old tree Luoluo, and the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon was the second strongest. The strongest was naturally the sky-splitting divine ape. Moreover, the sky-splitting divine ape was wearing the mystic divine armor. Its combat strength was outstanding. Although this attack was not enough to kill the Black Dragon Envoy, it was enough to severely injure him. Beat him when he's down. Kill him. Yi Xian gave the order from afar. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the group used their trump cards. Black Dragon Flame Wave. Netherworld Soul-Shattering Strike. Demon God's Claw. Heaven-startling 108 strikes. With such a powerful attack, the Black Dragon Envoy would not be far from death even if he did not die. The two 9th stage half-step perfected masters in the distance were stunned. What kind of F*King world was this? A few low-stage half-step perfected masters were beating up a perfected master? After they shivered, they immediately had the intention to retreat. Run. At this time, the transaction was already completed. Therefore, it was fine even if they ran away. Yi Xian's target was the Black Dragon Envoy. Rumble. So many attacks landed on the Black Dragon Envoy. However, the Black Dragon Envoy was very tough and managed to withstand them all. Through the shared vision of the group, Yi Xian saw strange black scales appear on the Black Dragon Envoy's body. Those were the World Annihilation Dragon scales. What the F*CK? This guy merged with the World Annihilation Dragon scales? What's going on? Yi Xian was shocked. Before he could react, the Black Dragon Envoy transformed into a huge black dragon. As it turned out, the Black Dragon Envoy was a Zuyoist and a member of the Black Dragon clan. Of course, the World Annihilation Dragon scales on his body did not belong to him. They belonged to the World Annihilation Black Dragon. Now, Yi Xian somewhat understood what kind of power the Black Dragon sect was. The people of the Black Dragon sect collected dragon scales outside and merged them into their bodies in an attempt to obtain the World Annihilation Black Dragon's abilities or become stronger. Roar! The Black Dragon Envoy was severely injured. Moreover, he was beaten up by a few people who were much weaker than him. His anger was already burning. However, although his strength increased after transforming into his true form, to Yi Xian and the others, he was walking right into a trap. World Annihilation Dragon Roar. At this time, the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon suddenly opened its mouth and let out another dragon roar. This move was specially used against beasts. After the Black Dragon Envoy heard it, the bloodline in his body was instantly suppressed and his combat strength decreased by 30%. Moreover, this was not the main point. Wei Zhentian, Myriad Beasts Diagram. After receiving Yi Xian's order, Wei Zhentian instantly changed from the Mystic God armor to the Myriad Beasts Diagram. The Myriad Beasts Diagram suppressed 50% of the combat strength of the surrounding beasts. Although Zuyoists could transform into humans, they were still beasts in essence. Therefore, the Myriad Beasts Diagram was also effective against the Black Dragon Envoy, who had transformed into his true form. In an instant, the Black Dragon Envoy's aura rapidly decreased to an extremely low level. In addition to his injuries, his combat strength was now less than 10%. It was the best opportunity to be beaten up. Heaven-startling 108 strikes. Although he did not have the Mystic God armor, the attack power of the heaven-breaking ape god was still not to be underestimated. Moreover, the Black Dragon Envoy's defense had decreased. Therefore, this strike directly blew up his head. Bang! The Black Dragon Envoy's head exploded. The Black Dragon blood was like a volcanic eruption, and black rain fell. However, the Black Dragon Envoy's dragon heart was still there. Although the Black Dragon Envoy was not dead, he would not live for long. Nether Fire Doppelganger. The old tree quickly burrowed into the wound and then punched the Black Dragon Envoy's dragon heart. Chapter 1819. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. In the distance, Yi Xian heard the system's notification in his head. Then, he quickly broke through the void and brought the old tree and the others back. Then he left. This battle was really thrilling. During the battle, Yi Xian's celestial heart of dazzling speed was beating non-stop. He felt that the middle-aged man in white would be here soon. Sure enough, it was as he had expected. Just as he left, the middle-aged man in white really came. After he sensed the aura, he saw the two escaping ninth-grade half-step immortals. However, these two ninth-grade half-step immortals did not know anything. They only knew that the Black Dragon Envoy was collecting the World Annihilation Dragon Scales. At this time, Yi Xian had already escaped far away. Wow, there are 15 World Annihilation Dragon Scales in there. What a haul! Yi Xian was overjoyed. 15 World Annihilation Dragon Scales could increase the strength of the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon by 15%. Including the previous scales, it would be more than 20 scales. Then, Yi Xian carefully searched the Black Dragon Envoy's interspatial ring. He found that other than those treasures, there was nothing else that could identify him. It seemed that he could only search his soul. However, Yi Xian's current cultivation level was too low. It would take a long time to search his soul. After all, he could not enter the planting space by himself. However, the old tree, the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon, Luo Luo, and the others could. However, the old tree and the others' cultivation levels were too low. It was still a question whether they were qualified. Oh right, the soul-absorbing bell that Wei Zhentian transformed into has the effect of searching one's soul. At this time, Yi Xian's eyes suddenly lit up as he thought of this. However, the soul-absorbing bell was rarer than the sky-splitter axe. Therefore, Yi Xian was hesitating whether to spend one devour point to fix the soul-absorbing bell. Forget it. Let it come. I guess I will use it often in the future. Then, Yi Xian spent one devour point to fix the soul-absorbing bell. In the future, Wei Zhentian could transform into the soul-absorbing bell any time. Ding! Soul-absorbing bell fixed successfully. As a result, Yi Xian only had 2 devour points left. Wei Zhentian search his soul. Yi Xian ordered Wei shakes the world. The soul-sucking bell was a pretty good magic treasure. Even though Wei Zhentian was the one doing the soul-searching, Yi Xian could see it through his contract with Wei Zhentian. This was equivalent to him doing the soul-searching himself. Although the soul-searching time was not short, it was fortunate that it was in the planting space. 100 years in the planting space was only a day in the outside world. So that's how it is. These Black Dragon Envoys belong to the Black Dragon Cult, but they are only external members of the Black Dragon Cult. The Black Dragon Cult taught them how to fuse with the World Annihilation Dragon Scale, and they collected extra World Annihilation Dragon Scales for the Black Dragon Cult. Yi Xian immediately understood. No wonder he felt that there was something wrong with the Black Dragon Envoy's strength. Even so, Yi Xian did not want to fuse with the Dragon Scale of Annihilation. He was afraid that something would happen to him. However, Yi Xian was most concerned about this Black Dragon Envoy and the other Black Dragon Envoys. Moreover, there was a Black Dragon token in his interspatial ring. It was a token for someone to join the Black Dragon sect and become a peripheral envoy. If I can join the Black Dragon sect, I might be able to grasp the whereabouts of many people. It will be easier for me to do things then. However, I don't know what this person looks like. If I want to replace him, I might have to find him first. Yi Xian thought to himself. According to the Black Dragon Envoy's memories, the person he was looking for was only a half-step perfected person. However, the Black Dragon sect did not know who he was looking for. They only had a portrait. Therefore, Yi Xian still had a chance. However, he had to find this half-step perfected person first. This person is the son of a friend of the Black Dragon Envoy. He is the city lord of a city. He is a 9th grade half-step perfected person. Yi Xian quickly checked the map and found the location. He immediately rushed over. Along the way, he thought that his people's realms were too low. He was not even a half-step perfected person. If he went to the Black Dragon sect, he would definitely be discovered. Therefore, he wanted to control this 9th grade half-step perfected person. If he wanted to hurry, it would take at least a month. Fortunately, there were teleportation portals in the nearby cities. Yi Xian used these portals to teleport to his destination. The city lord of White Feather City. After landing, Yi Xian sensed the aura of a perfected person in the White Feather City Lord Mansion. It seemed to be the friend of the Black Dragon envoy. Just in case, Yi Xian decided to stay here for a few days. Ding! The host has broken through. The host is now an 8th grade immortal emperor. Ding! The World Devastator Ghostly Dragon, Wei Zhentian, Yanming Ghostly Lord, and Sky-Breaking Ape God have broken through. The host is now a 3rd grade half-step perfected person. After they broke through again, Yi Xian decided to take action. Let's go! Yi Xian came to the front of the City Lord Mansion and gave the order. This time, the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon was not needed. In an instant, the old tree Luo Luo and Sky-Breaking Ape God moved out. With lightning speed, they captured the City Lord of White Feather City and his father. The two of them were forcefully brought into White Feather City by Yi Xian. After that, they were forced into the planting space by threats. The plant dimension was very slow, so Yi Xian had plenty of time to torture them. In the end, the two of them had no choice but to become Yi Xian's puppets. Now that the matter of the people is settled, the next step is to go to a branch of the Black Dragon sect. Yi Xian thought to himself. This branch of the Black Dragon sect could be reached directly through White Feather City's teleportation portal. However, before that, Yi Xian used the City Lord of White Feather City and his father as a trump card to ransack the City Lord Mansion. After that, he left. The Black Dragon sect was spread all over the world. In this branch, there were only a few Black Dragon envoys, but they were all at the perfected person level. Yi Xian asked the City Lord of White Feather City to take the order of the Black Dragon envoy and enter the Black Dragon sect's branch. Of course, before that, Wei Zhentian had turned into a hairpin. Just like that, the City Lord of White Feather City naturally became a Black Dragon envoy. At the same time, he came into contact with other Black Dragon envoys. Next, it was time for Yi Xian to use the death warrant to mark these people. The Black Dragon sect's branch was very hidden, but Yi Xian already knew about it. He was guarding there and marked 5 targets of the death warrant, including one of the branch lords. This branch lord must have a connection with the higher-ups. I'll deal with him later. Yi Xian thought to himself. Chapter 1820. These 4 Black Dragon ambassadors were all rank 1 true masters. Moreover, they were all Zuyuyoists who had fused with 1 to 3 dragon scales. Their strength was much stronger than ordinary people. As for the branch leader, he was a rank 2 true master. No one knew how many dragon scales he had fused with, but he was very strong. Yi Xian actually had the strength to destroy this branch now. However, he didn't want to expose himself, so he had to do it secretly. Soon, one of the Black Dragon ambassadors left the branch, preparing to return to his faction to cultivate. It would take time for people to collect the world-destroying dragon scales. They would only leave once in a while. After all, the number of world-destroying dragon scales would only decrease. Yi Xian followed this Black Dragon ambassador out, preparing to attack after he was far away. During this time, he had finally reached rank 9 Immortal Emperor. Old Tree, World-Destroying Ghost Dragon, Wei Zhentian, and the Sky-Breaking Divine Ape had also reached rank 4 Half-True Masters. This time, he didn't need to follow them anymore. He could just attack. Old Tree Luo Luo, go! Yi Xian said to the two. A mere rank 1 True Master didn't need the World-Destroying Ghost Dragon or the Sky-Breaking Divine Ape. A rank 5 Half-True Master like Luo Luo was enough. Luo Luo, who had transformed into her true form, and Old Tree, who had put on the Mystic God armor, caught up with the Black Dragon ambassador in an instant. Netherworld's soul-shattering strike. Claw of the Demon God. Old Tree and Luo Luo attacked with all their strength, quickly finishing off this Black Dragon ambassador. As expected, this Black Dragon ambassador only had 2 world-destroying dragon scales in his interspatial ring. He was preparing to fuse with them himself. He must have given the rest to the branch leader. Yi Xian thought to himself. However, he didn't lose anything this time. After all, it was a free win. Since he had already broken through, the next step would be to destroy this Black Dragon sect branch. Whoosh! Yi Xian immediately broke through the void and returned. In the next moment, Wei Zhentian put on the Sky-Breaking Divine Ape. Even without the Mystic Divine armor, the Sky-Breaking Divine Ape's combat power was much stronger than Luolua's. If he put on the Mystic Divine armor, even if Old Shu Luo Luo and the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon worked together, they would not be his match. Kill them all, leave no one alive. After Yi Xian gave the order, Old Tree and the others charged in. Their target was the 3 Black Dragon ambassadors and the branch leader. Bang! 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 A series of shocking explosions echoed in the city. The sneak attack of Old Tree and the others instantly killed the 3 Black Dragon envoys. Damn it, have we been exposed? The expression of the rank 2 true master of the Black Dragon cult's branch changed. Before he could transform, 108 stick shadows fell on him. Boom! This time, the Black Dragon Society's branch leader's head and heart exploded, and he died instantly. After his death, the Old Tree quickly swept over and collected the corpse and the interspatial ring. Then, it tore open the void and left. This time, the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon did not attack. Therefore, Yi Xian was not worried that the middle-aged man in white would come after him. After that, Yi Xian did not care about the others. He tore open the void and left. Now that he had enough cultivation resources to break through, he did not have to worry about anything else. He focused on collecting the World Devastator Dragon Scales. However, the harvest this time was the largest in Yi Xian's history. There were a total of 30 World Devastator Dragon Scales in the branch leader's interspatial ring. Moreover, there was even a pinky-sized World Devastator Dragon Bone. A World Devastator Dragon Bone could increase one's strength by at least 10%. This was equivalent to 10 World Devastator Dragon Scales. Haha Ribs, you're having a great time. Yi Xian did not say anything. He directly handed the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon Scales and Dragon Bones to let it absorb them all. Including the previous ones, the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon's strength had increased by nearly 70%. If this continued, it would not be a problem to increase it by 100% or even 1000%. From now on, Yi Xian would have to rely on the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon for a living. Speaking of which, after the branch leader died, his soul was also searched by the soul-sucking bell. The branches of the Black Dragon sect were all promoted one level at a time. They did not know the locations of the branches of the same level, but they knew the locations of the higher-level branches. The branch leader of the higher-level branch was a 5th-stage true master. He was not weak and had a large number of Black Dragon envoys under his command. Therefore, Yi Xian had to be fully prepared before he went there. After a while, the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon's strength will probably catch up to the sky-breaking ape god. When that time comes, it will be able to kill anyone in its way. Yi Xian thought to himself and continued on his way. Their next destination was a faction called the Green Feather Sect. Their leader was the branch leader of the Black Dragon sect. Although they could use the teleportation formation, some parts of the journey still required them to fly. During this time, Yi Xian finally broke through to the half-step True Master realm. As for the Old Tree and the others, they were 5th-stage True Masters. The second immortal grade bloodline can be exchanged? At this moment, Yi Xian raised his eyebrows as he noticed this change. The second immortal grade bloodline required 4 Devour points to exchange. However, Yi Xian only had 2 Devour points at the moment. Therefore he could not exchange for it. What a tragedy. I can only hope that I can trigger the Trial Tower's refresh mission. Yi Xian sighed helplessly. As long as the Trial Tower refreshed, he would be able to reach the 9th floor again and obtain 9 Devour points. At that time, the second immortal grade bloodline could be unlocked. However, Yi Xian only had 2 Devour points at the moment. Therefore, he did not consider this problem for the time being. After a few days, he finally arrived at the Green Feather Sect. However, with his current strength, it would not be easy for him to destroy the Green Feather Sect. However, just as he was feeling surprised. At this moment, Yi Xian raised his eyebrows as he saw puppets walking out of the Green Feather Sect. Why are these puppets so similar to the ones that Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master gave me? Yi Xian trembled. Could it be that the Green Feather Sect was related to Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master? Although the previous 100 puppets were strong, they were only at the level of a first-grade half-step Enlightened Master. However, the current green puppets were at least at the level of a 5th-grade half-step Enlightened Master. If 100 of them were to be added together, they would be able to challenge several realms higher. This Green Feather Sect was not simple. Yi Xian recalled that Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master had said that as long as he could find it, Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master would accept him as his disciple. Of course, this was under the condition that Yi Xian learned the 100 machine drill. If Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master was related to the Green Feather Sect, Then he could sneak in and take a look. However, if they were related, then it would be difficult for him to take action. No matter what, Xian had to take a look. After all, Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master had contributed to his arrival in the Holy World. At this moment, Xian approached the Green Feather Sect. Sir, is there a problem? Chapter 1821. Excuse me, is Taoist Spirit Heart here? Xian asked directly. He didn't ask if there was a person called Taoist Spirit Heart in the Blue Feather Sect. The green-clothed disciple glanced at Xian. The latter was only a half-step Taoist master, so in his eyes, he was like an ant. Why are you looking for the Vice Sect Master? The green-clothed disciple asked impatiently. After all, Xian was only a half-step Taoist master, yet he wanted to look for the Vice Sect Master. Didn't he know that they were of the same level? Is it really here? Hearing this, Xian was slightly surprised. Combined with the puppet, he should be able to confirm that this Taoist Spirit Heart was the one he was looking for. It's like this. Taoist Spirit Heart left behind a ruin outside. Xian began to explain. But before he could finish, the green-clothed disciple interrupted. Stop, I understand. Then, with a wave of his hand, 100 puppets appeared. He said to Xian, if you want to see the Vice Sect Master, you have to use the 100 machine drill. That's easy. Xian grinned. With a thought, the 100 puppets moved in the next moment and formed various battle formations. Okay, you pass. The green-clothed disciple nodded. Wait here, I'll go in and report. Now, Xian was 100% sure that Taoist Spirit Heart was in the Blue Feather Sect. However, he wasn't too interested in becoming Taoist Spirit Heart's disciple. Even if he used the 100 machine drill, he would only be able to face a half-step Taoist master of the 3rd or 4th stage. However, Xian's strength was enough to face a half-step Taoist master of the 7th stage. He didn't need these things. After a while, the disciple returned with another person. It was a middle-aged man with great strength. He was at least a 2nd stage Taoist master. Is it him? The middle-aged man asked. Yes. The disciple nodded. All right, show me the drill of 100 machines again. The middle-aged man turned his head and said to Xian. Although Xian did not know who this middle-aged man was, he still did as he was told. After the middle-aged man confirmed, he nodded slightly and said, Yes, it is indeed the 100 machine drill. Come with me. Yes. Xian responded and immediately followed. My name is Lingmu Yun, the 7th disciple of Spiritual Heart Reverend. However, my master is in seclusion now, so I can only accept it on behalf of him. After Lingmu Yun finished speaking, he asked, What's your name? Where did you see Spiritual Heart Venerable? My name is Xian. Xian replied. However, when he reported the location, Lingmu Yun shuddered and said, Our clan was in the vicinity previously. Family? Upon hearing this, it was Xian's turn to be shocked. He suddenly remembered Lingmu Yun's surname and immediately asked, Senior brother, are you from the Ling family's escort agency? What? Lingmu Yun stopped in his tracks and asked in shock. You know? I accidentally entered Spiritual Heart Reverend's relic and met Ling Kai there. However, when he returned, the Ling family's escort agency had already moved. Xian said slowly. He did not expect Lingmu Yun to be from the Ling family. At this moment, he recalled that Spiritual Heart Reverend said that Ling Kai was the descendant of his old friend. Then, it made sense that the Ling family had moved to the Green Feather Sect. Ling Kai. That's my nephew. Where is he now? Lingmu Yun asked in surprise. He's still at the same place, but there's a Lin family's escort agency. It was established by Lin Miao. Xian replied. The Lin family's escort agency? I thought that group of people had already disbanded. I didn't expect them to still be there. Lingmu Yun was quite shocked. Xian was the same. He did not expect the Ling family to improve so quickly after moving away. One had to know that the strongest person in the Ling family's escort agency was only a first-grade half-step perfected person. But now, they had reached the level of a perfected person. It seemed that they were riding on Spiritual Heart Reverend's coattails. However, why did the Ling family leave in such a hurry back then? And why did they only take away their own clansmen and not outsiders? What was the reason? Xian did not want to think too much about it and decided to observe the situation first. Is Ling Kai still in the Lin family's escort agency? I'll send someone to pick him up later. Ling Muyun said. This time it was really unexpected. He did not expect to meet someone from the Ling family in the Green Feather sect. However, this place was very far away from the Lin family's escort agency. After all, Yi Xian had arrived by teleportation several times. It was no wonder that the Lin family's escort agency could not find him. Then, Ling Muyun brought Yi Xian to a large hall and accepted Yi Xian as his disciple on behalf of his master, Spiritual Heart Reverend. Yi Xian did not care about this. He thought that after becoming Spiritual Heart Reverend's disciple, he might be able to investigate some things. Master has a total of 10 disciples. I'm the 7th and you're the 10th. However, Master is now in seclusion and has not come out for 10,000 years. When he comes out, you can give him the formal apprenticeship ceremony. Ling Muyun said to Yi Xian. Yes. 7th senior brother. Yi Xian nodded. He estimated that he would not be able to see Spiritual Heart Reverend. After all, he had been in seclusion for 10,000 years. He was only going to stay for a few days. Then, Ling Muyun brought Yi Xian to meet the other members of the Ling family, such as Ling Kai's father and grandfather. When everyone heard the news about Ling Kai, they were very happy. They had moved quickly because they were afraid of being wiped out. That was why they disbanded the Ling family's escort agency. At that time, many of the Ling family's disciples were still outside, including Ling Kai. They did not know about this. Yi Xian looked at this group of people and could not help but feel puzzled. Why did the Ling family move back then? However, this question did not have much to do with him. What he cared about now was how to get in touch with the Black Dragon Society's branch leader. From the memories of the previous branch leader, he knew that every time he sent the dragon scale to the designated location in the Green Feather sect, someone would take it away. This branch leader was the sect master of the Green Feather sect. He was the one who collected the dragon scale of annihilation. However, the Ling family and Spiritual Heart Reverend were both in the Green Feather sect. Furthermore, Spiritual Heart Reverend was the vice sect master and had a close relationship with him. Therefore, Yi Xian was in a dilemma. Right, I can first kill the Green Feather sect master and then search his soul. Finally, I can use the time reversal skill. This way, the memories of others will disappear, but mine won't. At this time, Yi Xian's eyes suddenly lit up as he thought of this. Time reversal could be used like this. This is going to be fun. In that case, he could first kill the Ling family's people and then search their souls. Finally, he could use the time reversal skill to return to the time before he joined the Green Feather sect. This way, he would know why the Ling family moved. However, at this time, Patriarch, this is bad. Chapter 1822. What's the matter? Why are you making such a big fuss? Ling Kai's grandfather, Ling Xiong, asked. He was the current clan leader of the Ling family, and was once the deputy chief of the Ling family escort agency. I heard that the sect leader is going to attack us. The Ling family disciple said directly, ignoring the presence of Yi Xian, an outsider. What? As soon as these words came out, it immediately shocked everyone. The sect leader was going to attack the Ling family? Even Yi Xian was surprised. Could it be that the sect leader was not on good terms with Spiritual Heart's spiritual master? If that was the case, it would be much more convenient. That bastard, he doesn't care about the friendship between the two families. He wants to destroy the Ling family just for a destructive dragon bone. Ling Xiong shouted angrily. Now, Yi Xian understood the reason. So it was for a world destruction dragon bone. A destructive dragon bone was equivalent to 10 destructive dragon scales, which could increase the combat power of the destructive ghost dragon by 10%. Could it be that the Ling family wanted to move away because of this tens of thousands of years ago? The sect leader of the Green Feather sect happened to be the chief of the Black Dragon sect. It seemed that the Ling family would not be able to escape. Father, the Ling family is not weak. Even if the sect leader wants to destroy us, he will have to be prepared to suffer heavy losses. Why don't we fight it out with them? Ling Kai's father, Ling Mutian, said. No. Ling Xiong immediately said, if the two sides fight, we will be the ones to die. What's the benefit of doing that? Quick, use the messenger token to inform the deputy sect leader. The Ling family was under the command of the Green Feather sect's deputy sect leader, Spiritual Heart Spiritual Master. Now that the Ling family was facing a great disaster, it would not make sense for Spiritual Heart's spiritual master to cultivate in seclusion. Father, Master is now focused on developing a new puppet. I have sent him many messages, but he has not responded. Ling Muyun said. Try again. He might have seen it, but he has no time to care about you. Ling Xiong said. Ling Muyun immediately sent a message to Spiritual Heart's spiritual master in front of everyone. However, he still did not get a reply. This time, the Ling family was in trouble. They were like a turtle in a jar. Don't worry, the deputy sect leader has many subordinates. They will help us. It is precisely because of this that the sect master does not dare to act rashly. Ling Xiong calmed down and said. Taoist Ling Xian had accepted 6 disciples before Ling Muyun. These 6 people were not weak. The weakest was a rank 3 true master, while the strongest was a peak rank 4 true master. As for the Cyan Feather sect master, he was only a peak rank 5 Taoist. If they were to truly fight, both parties would definitely end up seriously injured. Furthermore, Taoist Spirit Heart was even more powerful than the Azure Feather sect master. If he were to return and find out about this matter, he would definitely not spare the Azure Feather sect master. When Yi Xian heard the conversation, he also felt that the situation was a little serious. However, with his current strength he should be able to help. He was now a rank 1 half-step enlightened master while the old tree and the others were rank 5 half-step enlightened masters. If they were to really fight, the heaven-breaking ape god and the others would be enough to mess up the entire battle. However, right at this moment, another person suddenly landed outside and walked in. It's the sect leader's first disciple, Wan Tianrui. Everyone immediately recognized him. Why was the sect master's eldest disciple here at this time? Ling family, Master said that he would give you one last chance. Hand over the dragon bone of destruction, and your Ling family can continue to stay in the Azure Feather sect. Otherwise, don't blame us for being ruthless. When Tianrui said, It's just a dragon bone of destruction and you want to kill us? Ling Xiong said angrily. You said it yourself. It's just a dragon bone of destruction. Why do you have to make the 2 families unhappy? When Tianrui said, Ling Muyun immediately stood out and said, Don't be too arrogant. My Ling family is under my master, not the sect master. When my master returns, before he could finish, when Tianrui interrupted him, Since your Ling family has been suppressed until now, has he ever appeared? This sentence indeed left Ling Muyun speechless. Taoist Spirit Heart had not been heard from since he left. It was unknown whether he had received a message or met with an accident, but he had already died. Master didn't make a move because he saw that your Ling family was good and wanted to subdue you. Therefore, Master is giving you one more chance. As long as you obediently hand over the dragon bone of destruction and submit to my master, your Ling family will be fine. When Tianrui continued. This time, everyone in the Ling family fell silent. Wen Tianrui, are you trying to destroy my master's forces one by one? Suddenly, a voice sounded. Then, 6 people walked in from outside. These 6 people were all Taoist Spirit Heart's disciples. Damn it! Wen Tianrui's expression changed when he saw the 6 people. Previously, they had purposely leaked the news to let the Ling family know and then directly came to force the Ling family to compromise. Unexpectedly, these 6 people also knew about this matter. Ling Xiong, don't worry. The 6 of us will advance and retreat with you, the leading middle-aged man said. With these 6 people and the Ling family, Vice Sect Master Spirit Heart's faction was not afraid of the sect master of the Azure Feather sect. Seeing that his plan had failed, when Tianrui could only say, If we start a war, no one will benefit. In that case, I will take a step back. What? Ling Xiong was shocked. The sect master actually took a step back. This meant that he did not want to have a falling out with them. I propose that we have a bet with the dragon bone as the wager. If we win, you have to hand over the dragon bone. If we lose, we will take out the dragon scale. What do you think? Wen Tianrui said. Hearing this, the Ling family members couldn't help but look at each other. Bet. Using the dragon bone and dragon scale as the wager? There is one thing I don't understand. Why does the sect master insist on taking the dragon bone from my Ling family? Ling Xiong said, My dragon bone is equivalent to 12 dragon scales. Is the sect master just trying to comprehend the world annihilation attack faster? The World Annihilation Attack was the strange energy that people comprehended from the World Annihilation Dragon Scale and Dragon Bone. It could increase their attack power. The Dragon Bone's comprehension speed was much faster than the Dragon Scale, so it was much more valuable. Under normal circumstances, one would not be able to exchange for 10 Dragon Bones, so it would be 1 to 12. After all, between 10 Dragon Bones and 10 Dragon Scales, everyone would choose the former. If they wanted to exchange for the Dragon Bone, they naturally had to add more points. You don't need to worry about why my master needs the World Annihilation Dragon Bone. Similarly, if you are willing to take out the World Annihilation Dragon Bone, my master will definitely take out 12 World Annihilation Dragon Scales to exchange for it, Wen Tianrui said. There must be something fishy about this. Chapter 1823. All right. Tell me, how do we do it? Ling Xiong asked. Wen Tianrui answered without hesitation. There are 3 rounds. In the first round, each side will send out 10 people to kill each other. The first one to die will be the loser. You can't be a perfected person for this round. In the second round, you will choose a 3rd-rank perfected person to fight with your puppets. The side that destroys all 100 puppets will be the loser. In the 3rd round, each side will send out 1 person to fight. There's no realm requirement. Everyone in the Ling family felt that it was unfair. The 3rd round is obviously unfair. Ling Muyun said. The sect master was a 5th-rank perfected person. Who could win against him? Don't worry. My master won't fight. You can't be a 4th-rank perfected person. Wen Tianrui said. If that was the case, then the Ling family's patriarch, Ling Xiong, could fight. It seemed that the 3 rounds were relatively fair. All right. Our Ling family will accept. When will the battle be? Ling Xiong asked. 3 days later. Wen Tianrui said. All right, 3 days from now then. Ling Xiong immediately agreed. Wen Tianrui then left. The battle in 3 days was very important. The Ling family couldn't lose. I'll fight the 2nd round in 3 days. I'm as good as Wen Tianrui in controlling puppets. Ling Muyun said. He was the disciple of Spiritual Heart Enlightened and the most talented one. He was also a 3rd-rank perfected person like Wen Tianrui, so it was best for him to fight the 2nd round. There was no suspense in the 3rd round. The Ling family's patriarch, Ling Xiong, would fight the 3rd round. After all, he was the only 4th-rank perfected person in the Ling family. As for the 1st round, it would need to be carefully selected. Then, Ling Muyun introduced Yi Xian to Spiritual Heart Enlightened's 6 disciples. Greetings, senior brothers. Yi Xian hurriedly greeted them. Good. Junior brother, you're able to learn the drill of 100 machines at your current realm. You're not inferior to us. However, Master is still in seclusion to create new puppets. You can only formally become his disciple when he returns. The middle-aged man in the lead said. Yes. Yi Xian nodded. Of course, he wasn't interested in becoming Spiritual Heart Enlightened's disciple. This time, he came in to investigate the matter. Now, the investigation was almost done. However, he still wanted to see what would happen next. 3 days later, he would be able to break through again. At that time, Old Tree and the others would have a qualitative leap in strength. Then, who else among the half-step enlightened masters could be a match for the Old Tree? Therefore, he decided to help the Ling clan. After that, Yi Xian stayed at the Ling family's residence and waited for the battle that would be held 3 days later. During these 3 days, Taoist Spirit Heart still did not reply. It was unknown whether it was because he had fallen or because he was so engrossed in developing new puppets that he did not notice. In any case, the Ling family had to rely on themselves to get through this crisis. Very soon, the day of the battle arrived. Coincidentally, Yi Xian and the rest had also broken through. Yi Xian had reached 2nd stage half-step True Sage, while the Old Tree, World-Destroying Ghost Dragon, Wei Zhentian, and Sky-Breaking Divine Ape had all reached 6th stage half-step True Sage. As for Luo Luo, due to the large amount of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, she had always been 1 realm ahead. At this time, the Ling clan had already led their experts and Taoist Spirit Heart 6 disciples to the Blue Feather Sect's martial arts field. Before that, the Blue Feather Sect's sect master and his subordinates had also arrived. Sect master, must we go to this extent? Ling Xiong couldn't help but ask when he saw the sect master. Nonsense, don't ask anymore. If you can hand over the dragon bone, then today might be the day you fall. The Blue Feather sect master coldly snorted. In that case, let's fight. Ling Xiong's battle intent surged. How do you guys want to fight the first battle? When Tian Rui suddenly asked. You and I will go first. Ling Muyun suddenly stepped onto the stage. This battle would be a battle between puppets at the level of 3rd stage true sage. There would not be any casualties on either side. Moreover, the first battle was extremely important and would affect the morale of the rest. All right. When Tian Rui did not waste any time and directly stood on the martial arts field. Ling Muyun also leaped and jumped onto the field. This was a battle between puppets. Both of them could only control the puppets and could not participate in the battle themselves. Moreover, there was a limit of 100 puppets. If all 100 puppets were destroyed, they would lose. Let's begin. Ling Xiong yelled. In the next moment, a large number of puppets appeared on the martial arts field. There were exactly 200 of them. Ling Muyun was using the strengthened spiritual heart puppet of Spiritual Heart Sage, which was the most powerful puppet in the Blue Feather sect. When Tian Rui suggested this, Ling Muyun thought that he wanted to see who was more proficient in controlling the puppets. However, this was not the case. This time, when Tian Rui did not use the spiritual heart puppet, but a black puppet. This is strange. Why is the young sect master not using the spiritual heart puppet? What kind of puppet is this? Why have I never heard of it? Is it a newly developed puppet? It looks very powerful. The disciples below the stage began to discuss among themselves. Ling Muyun's expression changed when he saw the puppet. He suddenly thought of something. Ling Xiong's expression turned ugly as he said, Is this a world-destroying puppet fighter? The world-destroying puppet fighter was a puppet that had fused with the world-destroying dragon scale. Its defense was extremely strong and its attack was accompanied by a world-destroying attack. This kind of puppet could fight 3 spiritual heart puppets at once. Now that there were 100 world-destroying puppet fighters, how could they fight? It's over. It's over. Muyun is going to lose this round. The Ling family members thought at the same time. Not only that, but Ling Muyun also thought the same. Haha, you didn't expect this, right? There are only 100 world-destroying puppet fighters in the entire Blue Feather sect. Ling Muyun, if you know what's good for you, go down yourself. Wan Tianrui laughed out loud. Don't even think about it. Ling Muyun's eyes widened. Since he was inferior in terms of equipment, he would fight for it in terms of technique. His 100 puppet fighter was definitely better than Wan Tianrui's. In an instant, the 100 spiritual heart puppets on the stage moved out in full force. They formed an assault formation and charged toward the world-destroying puppet fighters. Assault formation? Child's play. Wan Tianrui snorted and immediately controlled the 100 world-destroying puppet fighters to meet the spiritual heart puppets head-on. Although the world-destroying puppet fighters would definitely win in a melee battle, each of the world-destroying puppet fighters was expensive. Wan Tianrui would be distressed if they were destroyed. Therefore, he used a more conservative defensive formation. Crack! 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 The puppets on both sides began to fight. However, more than a dozen spiritual heart puppets were destroyed in just one wave of attacks. On the other hand, Wan Tianrui's side did not have a single one. The gap was widened in an instant. 100 versus 100. One side did not lose a single puppet, while the other side lost a puppet. Chapter 1824. No, I can't lose this battle. Ling Muyun's face darkened. The first battle was very important and affected the morale of the team. If he lost this battle, he would be under a lot of pressure in the next battle. However, even though his 100 machine drill was better than Wan Tianrui and he could use more battle formations, he still couldn't make up for the difference in puppets. Even if it wasn't Wan Tianrui controlling the world-destroying puppet, but a second-stage true master, he would still be able to defeat the spiritual core puppets. Ling Muyun was bound to lose this battle. In the blink of an eye, more than 30 spiritual core puppets were destroyed, leaving only 60 puppets. Muyun, come down. Ling Xiong suddenly said from below the stage. The members of the Ling family were also sighing. This time, their Ling family was truly helpless. No, I won't admit defeat. Ling Muyun had lost his head. Even if he lost 100 spiritual core puppets, he wouldn't admit defeat. No matter what, The outcome of this battle was already decided. The Ling family couldn't win. I didn't expect the world-destroying puppet to be so powerful. Elder Ling lost so thoroughly. A disciple of the Green Feather sect said. The battle was over. Ling Muyun's 100 spiritual core puppets were all destroyed. Wen Tianrui didn't lose any of his puppets. Wen Tianrui won this battle. Muyun, don't blame yourself. We fell into their trap, Ling Xiong comforted. Indeed, the sect leader of the Green Feather sect came prepared and hid the world-destroying puppet. Otherwise, Ling Muyun would have a higher chance of winning. Father, what should we do in the next battle? They have the world-destroying puppet. If it's a battle of 10, I'm afraid. Ling Mutian said worriedly. No, that's not necessarily true. Ling Xiong shook his head. The world-destroying puppet can't be controlled by an ordinary person. It's already difficult to control a low-level spiritual core puppet before reaching the true master realm. It's impossible to control the world-destroying puppet. Then, Father, don't participate in this battle, Ling Mutian said. Ling Xiong was the only fourth-stage true master in the Ling family. If he died, the Ling family wouldn't be qualified to challenge the sect leader. Therefore, the younger generation would go up. In these 3 days, the Ling clan had already chosen 10 Ling clan disciples to fight. All of them were geniuses with hundreds of machines. As for the Green Feather sect, they had probably sent a half-step Taoist master as well. If the sect leader won this time, the Ling family would lose a dragon bone of annihilation. On the other hand, if the Ling clan won, they could still fight another round. However, right at this moment. Senior, can you give me a spot? At this time, Yi Xian suddenly asked Ling Xiong. What? Ling Xiong suspected that he had misheard. Junior brother, do you have a better candidate? Ling Muyun asked. Yes, and we have 100% chance of winning this match. Yi Xian nodded solemnly. Really? Really? Hearing this answer, the Ling family members found it hard to believe. Yi Xian was only a second-stage half-step Taoist master. What kind of genius could he know? Then call him over to take a look. Ling Xiong nodded. All right. With that, Yi Xian quickly left the Green Feather sect and summoned the old tree outside. Although the old tree was only a 6th-stage half-step Taoist master, his actual combat strength was probably comparable to a 3rd-stage Taoist master. Even if when Tianrui made a move, he would probably be able to kill him. Could it be that he couldn't win this match? Actually, Yi Xian could already directly attack the sect leader, but he just wanted to watch a good show. Soon, he brought the old tree to the Ling family members. You're talking about him? Ling Xiong stared at the old tree in disbelief. A 6th-stage half-step Taoist master? What the hell? Senior, don't worry. This friend of mine has killed a 3rd-stage Taoist master before. With him here, we'll definitely win this match. Yi Xian said solemnly. Even so, the Ling family members didn't believe him. A 6th-stage half-step Taoist master killing a 3rd-stage Taoist master? What kind of joke was this? If you don't believe me, one of you can come up and try. Yi Xian said again. No need. I'll choose him. Ling Xiong suddenly said. This time, the Ling family members were all shocked. Father? Ling Mutian shouted. How could the head of the family believe such a lie so easily? Although Yi Xian was Spiritual Heart Taoist's 10th disciple, who knew if he was sent by the sect leader? What if it was a trap? An innocent man gets into trouble because of his wealth. Ling Xiong sighed. Even if we win this match, the sect leader won't let us go. It's better to just hand over the dragon bone and leave the Green Feather sect. This way, our Ling family can continue to live on. Father, don't you still have a match? Ling Mutian asked. Ling Xiong shook his head. No. Look at the person beside the sect leader. As far as I know, he's the leader of the 7 freaks of Mount Hong. Although he's only a 4th-stage Taoist master, he's been a 5th-stage Taoist master for more than 100,000 years. As for me, I only broke through recently. Although I have a dragon bone of destruction, it's useless. The leader of the 7 freaks of Mount Hong? Hearing this, the Ling family members couldn't help but look at the red-haired middle-aged man beside the sect leader. TSK. 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 You guys already found out? The red-haired middle-aged man grinned and said to Ling Xiong, if you guys lose this match, I don't need to fight anymore. What do you think? The Ling family members were silent. Since they were going to lose, why not just surrender? If that's the case, why don't you just hand over the dragon bone? Suddenly, someone said. Everyone turned around and found that it was Spiritual Heart Taoist's third disciple, a third-stage Taoist master. Third junior brother, could it be that you? Spiritual Heart Taoist's eldest disciple looked at him in shock. That's right. I've already surrendered to the sect leader. You guys can't win today's match no matter what. Spiritual Heart Taoist's third disciple nodded. Everyone sucked in a breath of air. They didn't expect that there would be someone from the sect leader in their camp. If they really fought, it would be very fatal. Ling Xiong was also silent. Even if they won this match, he wouldn't be able to defeat the leader of the 7 freaks of Mount Hong. Since they were going to lose anyway, why let the Ling family members fight and put them in danger? All right. Ling Xiong sighed again and nodded slightly. When everyone saw this, they knew that Ling Xiong had made his decision. At this time, Yi Xian spoke again. If that's the case, why don't you let this friend of mine fight alone? What? When the Ling family members heard this, they looked at Yi Xian in disbelief. A 6th-stage half-step Taoist master wanted to fight against 10 9th-stage half-step Taoist masters? Young man, are you serious? Ling Xiong asked in disbelief. Don't worry. I won't joke about my life. Old Tree also spoke. Chapter 1825. Seeing Yi Xian and Old Tree's solemn expressions, Ling Xiong nodded and said, All right, I agree. The crowd was also confused by Yi Xian. They had only known Yi Xian for 3 days, but Yi Xian's confidence didn't seem to be fake. They were already prepared to surrender, but Yi Xian still insisted on sending this bald old man. Could it be that Yi Xian wasn't one of the sect master's people? After obtaining Ling Xiong's agreement, Old Tree's figure flickered and jumped onto the training field. His action puzzled everyone present. What is he doing? A 6th-stage half-step venerable master is going on stage? Strange. If he wants to fight one-on-one, shouldn't Elder Ling Xiong be the one to fight? Perhaps he has something to say. The Blue Feather Sect's disciples looked on in confusion. Ling Xiong, what do you mean by this? Asked the sect master. 10 half-step venerable masters. We will only send one person, said Ling Xiong. Once these words were spoken, the entire place fell silent. Was this a joke? At this time, Taoist Spirit Heart's third disciple transmitted a message to the sect master. After hearing it, the sect master couldn't help but snort coldly. What kind of nobody dares to go on stage and kill a 3rd-stage venerable? What a joke. Whatever. Send someone up and deal with him. Hearing this, a 9th-stage half-step venerable master immediately jumped onto the stage. Please. Old Tree said calmly to this Blue Feather Sect's disciple. You're courting death. This Blue Feather Sect's disciple originally didn't want to go up, but since the sect master was the one who spoke, this was an opportunity for him to perform. In his opinion, he didn't even need to use a puppet to deal with a 6th-stage half-step venerable master. He could easily kill him. However, he didn't know that he had kicked an iron plate this time. When his figure flickered, Old Tree also moved. The latter's nether flame clone instantly appeared in front of the Blue Feather Sect's disciple. Bang! With a muffled sound, the Blue Feather Sect's disciple's chest was pierced through by Old Tree. Immediately, flames spread out and burned the Blue Feather Sect's disciple's corpse to ashes. Instant kill. The entire place was silent. Many people doubted whether their eyes were playing tricks on them. A 9th-stage half-step Taoist master disciple was actually killed by someone 3 stages above him. Furthermore, it was an instant kill. How was this possible? The sect leader of the Green Feather Sect and the Ling family were all dumbfounded. The Ling family won the second battle? Senior, I was right, wasn't I? I will definitely win this match for you. Yi Xian suddenly said. Ling Xiong still hadn't recovered from the shock and only nodded slightly. Yi Xian was right. Could it be that this bald old man really had the strength to kill a rank 3 true sage? Of course, being able to instantly kill a rank 9 half-step Taoist did not mean that he could kill a rank 3 true Taoist. After all, the difference in strength between a rank 9 half-step Taoist and a rank 3 true Taoist was thousands of times greater. But then again, this battle was originally a 10 versus 10 battle. Now that it had become a 1 versus 1 battle, it definitely counted. Damn it, useless trash. The sect master of the Blue Feather sect cursed. Although the Ling family won the first battle, the result was still the same. The Ling family members also thought of this point. So what if the bald old man could kill a rank 3 true sage? Could it be that he could win the third battle for them? In the third battle, they would have to face the leader of the Hongshan 7 freaks, a peak rank 4 true sage. Even Ling Xiong couldn't defeat him. At this time, Yi Xian suddenly grinned and said, "Senior, why don't you send my men for the third battle?" What? The Ling family members were shocked again. Yi Xian, could it be that you have a way to win this battle? Young man, could it be that you? Ling Xiong transmitted his voice in shock. Senior, don't worry. I have 100% chance. Yi Xian replied with a smile. 100% chance. Ling Xiong was so shocked that he couldn't speak. If he were to go, he wouldn't even have a 10% chance of winning. Could it be that Yi Xian had a helper? All right, you go. Ling Xiong immediately nodded in agreement. No, it's not me. It's him. Yi Xian shook his head. Suddenly, a cute little armored monkey jumped out from his arms and jumped onto the martial arts field. A little monkey was going to face the leader of the Hongshan 7 freaks? The Ling family members imagined a scene. A little monkey beating the leader of the Hongshan 7 freaks beyond recognition. How ridiculous was that? In any case, Ling Xiong wouldn't go up. If Yi Xian wasn't there, they were all prepared to surrender. It didn't matter who went up. Ling Xiong, you still want to fight the third battle? The sect master of the Jianghu sect asked. Yes, the one going up is this little monkey. Ling Xiong nodded. As soon as he said that, the face of the leader of the Hongshan 7 freaks sank. He angrily rebuked, "What kind of joke is this? You want me to fight a monkey? If you guys don't go up, then Patian will win?" Yi Xian suddenly smiled. Humph. The red-haired middle-aged man coldly snorted. Although he was unwilling, he had promised the sect master of the Jianghu sect that he would win this battle. As such, he could only brace himself and go up. Don't be careless. I'm afraid there is something fishy. The sect master of the Jianghu sect's face suddenly darkened as he sent a message to the red-haired middle-aged man. A little monkey that hasn't even reached the immortal realm. What's fishy? The red-haired middle-aged man coldly snorted and then landed on the stage. This battle was related to the survival of the Ling family. If the Ling family could win, then it would be fun. However, before the red-haired man could stabilize himself, the sky-splitting godly ape transformed into a beam of light and charged towards him. Heaven-startling 108 strikes. The sky-splitting godly ape took out its weapon and smashed it towards the red-haired man. What? The red-haired man was shocked. Was this the speed of a 6th-stage immortal beast that was half a step into the immortal realm? What a joke! Luo, who was a 9th-stage demon emperor, instantly killed the 6th-stage demon revered 5-clawed golden dragon tribe's genius, Tang Qingshan. At that time, the sky-splitting godly ape played with Luo with its 7th-stage demon emperor realm. Now, the sky-splitting godly ape had become Yi Xian's pet. Its combat power had doubled. With the mystic divine armor, its combat power had reached an unparalleled level. 4th-stage immortal realm? Courting death. Bang! In an instant, the red-haired man was smashed into minced meat by the sky-splitting godly ape. He died immediately. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. When the system notification rang out, the corners of Yi Xian's mouth could not help but curl up slightly. The Ling family had won the third battle. However, the reason why he had waited until now was because he wanted to watch a good show. He did not expect that he would not be able to watch a good show. Since that was the case, he had to get down to business. Patian, kill the sect master of the Jianghu sect. At that moment, Yi Xian ordered the sky-splitting godly ape. After receiving the order, the sky-splitting godly ape immediately glanced at the sect master of the Jianghu sect. Chapter 1826. Not good. The sect master of the Green Feather sect, who was still in shock, paled when he saw that the sky-splitting divine ape had locked onto him. In an instant, he took out a puppet from his interspatial ring. It was another world-destroying puppet fighter. However, this one was much better than one Tianrui's. This was because the world-destroying dragon bone was fused with the puppet instead of the world-destroying dragon scale. Bang! The world-destroying puppet fighter blocked the sky-splitting divine ape's 108 strikes. What a strong defense. The Ling family members finally understood why the sect master of the Green Feather sect coveted the dragon bone and was willing to trade the world-destroying dragon scale for it. It turned out that it was because of this world-destroying puppet fighter. However, could the sect master of the Green Feather sect block the sky-splitting divine ape with this world-destroying puppet fighter? At this moment, stop! Suddenly, a loud shout entered everyone's ears. The sky-splitting divine ape stopped in its tracks. The surrounding people turned around and saw a figure in the sky. It's the Vice Sect Master. Those with discerning eyes immediately recognized him. The Vice Sect Master of the Green Feather Sect was Spiritual Master Spiritual Heart, who was also Yixian's master in name. Of course, Spiritual Heart couldn't make the sky-splitting divine ape stop. The sky-splitting divine ape had stopped because Yixian had stopped it. Yixian had not only heard Spiritual Heart's voice, but also a system notification. Ding! Host has triggered a random mission. Kill the sect master of the Green Feather Sect. This was the real reason why Yixian had stopped. If the sect master of the Green Feather Sect died under the sky-splitting divine ape strikes, this random mission would not be completed. Killing meant that the system wanted to let the sect master of the Green Feather Sect leave. Yixian was only a second-stage half-step true master. He would have no problem dealing with an 8th-stage true master, but a 9th-stage true master would be difficult. However, the sect master of the Green Feather Sect was a 5th-stage true master, which was 12 stages higher than Yixian. Fortunately, Yixian had helpers, so this mission should be easy. Yixian suddenly thought of something and hurriedly ordered the sky-breaking ape god, "Kill that one Tianrui." The heaven-breaking divine ape received the new order and immediately changed its target. 108 strikes of the stick. Wen Tianrui, who was only a rank 3 true sage, was smashed to death. At the same time, the old tree dashed over and took the interspatial ring. There were 100 world-destroying puppet fighters in this interspatial ring, which was equivalent to 100 world-destroying dragon scales. Of course, whether or not he could separate the apocalyptic dragon scale from the puppet was still a problem. But, let's take it first. In the sky, Daoist Spirit Heart glanced at the heaven-splitting divine ape below and couldn't help but feel somewhat afraid. Before he could react, the heaven-splitting divine ape attacked again. This time around, it attacked the Cyan Feather Sect's sect master. Although there was a random mission, the heaven-splitting divine ape did not intend to kill the sect master of the Green Feather Sect this time. Bang! With a muffled sound, the sect master of the Green Feather Sect's arm was broken into two. At the same time, his body was sent flying and separated from the world-destroying puppet fighter in front of him. Then, the old tree flashed over again and put away the world-destroying puppet fighter. The 101 world-destroying puppet fighters were a large amount of strength for the world-destroying ghostly dragon. Daoist Spirit Heart was originally a little angry. After all, the heaven-breaking divine ape had ignored his words. However, the heaven-breaking divine ape could easily send the sect master of the Green Feather Sect flying. Moreover, he could see that the heaven-breaking divine ape had held back. Otherwise, the sect master of the Green Feather Sect would have become a corpse. Therefore he couldn't say much. "Senior brother, I didn't expect you to develop the dragon bone puppet fighter before me," Daoist Spirit Heart exclaimed. The senior brother he was referring to was the sect master of the Green Feather Sect. At this moment, the sect master of the Green Feather Sect got up from the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood and said, "So what? This time I lost." When Daoist Spirit Heart heard this, he turned to look at Yixian and said, "Your Excellency, can you give him a way out and let him go?" He had learned the details from Ling Muyun's message. However, the sect master of the Green Feather Sect was his senior brother after all. "All right." Yixian nodded and agreed without hesitation. After all, the random mission asked him to secretly kill the sect master of the Green Feather Sect. Therefore, he naturally had to let him go. "Thank you, Your Excellency." Daoist Spirit Heart thanked him and said, "Senior brother, you can leave now. Don't come back." "Okay, let's go." The sect master of the Green Feather Sect was straightforward. He knew that if the heaven-breaking divine ape had used all its strength, he would have been smashed into meat paste like when Tianrui and the red-haired man. Therefore, he turned around and left without bringing anyone with him. The winner takes all. Daoist Spirit Heart had already done him a great favor by letting him go. In that case, the Green Feather Sect would belong to Daoist Spirit Heart. Yi Xian did not care about this. He had already marked the sect master of the Green Feather sect with the death warrant. No matter where he ran to, he would definitely die. After the sect master of the Green Feather sect left, the people present regained their senses. They had to admit that what had happened today was too ridiculous. The sect master of the Green Feather sect, who was originally confident of victory, was suddenly attacked by someone. Not only was he caught off guard, but he was also thoroughly defeated. What was the background of Yi Xian and that bald old man? Furthermore, why did that little monkey have such powerful combat strength? At this moment, Ling Muyun suddenly transmitted a message to Dao's spirit heart, saying that Yi Xian had actually learned the drill of 100 machines and was here to become his disciple. Daoist spirit heart was shocked when he heard this news. Damn, it's my disciple? What a joke! Yi Xian already had the strength to kill him. Would he still dare to accept Yi Xian as his disciple? Nonsense! Young friend Yi Xian, thank you so much this time. After the sect master of the Green Feather sect left, Ling Xiong couldn't help but cup his fists to Yi Xian. It's fine. Yi Xian waved his hand. Of course, he was also thinking that instead of thanking him, he might as well take out something as a reward. If it was the Dragon Bone of Devastation, that would be even better. The Ling clan was also very grateful to Yi Xian, even though Daoist spirit heart would arrive at the end of the day. However, the sect master might attack the Ling clan the moment the Dragon Bone was handed over. After all, when Tian Rui had previously said that the Ling clan should hand over the Dragon Bone and submit to the sect master, the Ling clan could not do the latter, as that would be ungrateful. The Ling clan had some relationship with Yi Xian, so Yi Xian decided not to fight over the Dragon Bone. Although the matter had come to an end, Yi Xian was prepared to stay in the Green Feather sect for a day or two. On the surface, he had let go of the Green Feather sect's sect master, but secretly he still wanted to kill him. If the old tree and the little monkey were not around, they would definitely be suspected. Thus, this mission could only be left to Wei Zhantian and Luo Luo. Yi Xian found an opportunity to release Wei Zhantian and Luo Luo, and then let them carry out the mission. Chapter 1827. A day later. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. Yi Xian, who was in the Green Feather sect, suddenly heard a system notification. Luo Luo's voice immediately followed. Young master, the mission is complete. Well done. Yi Xian replied via sound transmission. In the next moment, the second system notification sounded. Ding! Host has completed a random mission. The system rewards you with unlocking the second immortal bloodline physique. This reward made Yi Xian extremely happy. This random mission actually rewarded him with 4 devour points for the immortal bloodline physique. It was a huge gain. It seemed that Yi Xian could finally obtain a second immortal bloodline physique. Although I'm quite strong now, with the old tree and the others around, I don't have a foothold at all. If I'm going to strengthen myself, I might as well strengthen them. Yi Xian thought to himself as he searched the immortal level devour system. There were so many bloodlines that Yi Xian was dazzled. However, there were not many bloodlines that were related to beasts. You're the one, Divine Beast Ambassador. In the end, Yi Xian's gaze fell on a Divine Beast Ambassador bloodline. Ding! Host has fused with the Divine Beast Ambassador bloodline. The Divine Beast Ambassador bloodline was a bloodline that specialized in enhancing beasts. Although it belonged to Yi Xian, it greatly increased the beast's combat power. The Divine Beast Ambassador bloodline was an advancement path that directly doubled the beast's combat power and growth speed. It also had the ability to fuse with specific beasts. In addition, if there were any beasts around the master could increase his combat power. 1 beast would increase his combat power by 20%. 2 beasts would increase his combat power by 40%. Now, Yi Xian had the old tree, Megatron, Yi Xian, and Luo Luo. If they worked together, Yi Xian's combat power would be doubled. Moreover, the 5 beasts would also have an effect. In addition to the initial double, it would increase his combat power by 2 times. Lastly, there was a title quest for the Divine Beast Ambassador. As long as one obtained this title, the Beast Ambassador's combat power would be doubled, and everyone's damage towards beasts would be tripled. Although Yi Xian had the Immortal Eye Unicorn bloodline, he was the only one who had the bonus damage to beasts. However, if he obtained the title of Divine Beast Trainer, then Old Tree and the others would also have an effect. In this way, The monsters would be able to increase their battle prowess by 3 times, which was simply terrifying. Of course, what Yi Xian looked forward to the most was the ability to combine with the monsters. Damn it. Of the 5 monsters, only the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon can fuse with me. Yi Xian looked a little helpless. However, he was very curious about what form he would take after he merged with the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon, and how powerful he would become. Now, the sect master of the Green Feather sect had already been dealt with by Luo Luo and Wei Zhentian. This time, their harvest was not small as they had obtained more than 40 dragon scales. Immediately, Yi Xian handed the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon scales to the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon. After fusing with the dragon scales, the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon's combat power had increased by more than 100%. However, what surprised Yi Xian was that after the 100% increase, it actually required 5 dragon scales to increase its combat power by 1%. In simple terms, to increase the combat power from 100% to 200%, it would require 500 dragon scales or 50 dragon bones. Forget it. Now, it's easier for me to obtain dragon scales. Each time, the quantity is not small. If there is no limit, it will be a little too much. Yi Xian was very calm. Next, he asked the Celestial Level Devouring System to analyze the 100 World Devastator puppets and the Dragon Bone puppet. Ding! Would the host like to separate them? Yes. He did not expect the Celestial Level Devouring System to be able to separate the World Devastator Dragon Bone and the World Devastator Dragon Scales from the puppet after fusing with them. This was not bad. 100 World Devastator Dragon Scales and 1 World Devastator Dragon Bone could increase the combat power of the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon by 22%. This was not bad. The current combat power of the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon is about the same as the Sky-Breaking Divine Ape. When I merge with the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon, I wonder how terrifying my combat power will be. Yi Xian was looking forward to it. At this moment, he was already preparing to leave. Wei Zhentian had already searched the Green Feather sect leader's soul. His superior, Yi Xian, was also aware of this. However, before this, Yi Xian wanted to complete the Imperial Beast Messenger title first. I'll wait for a few more days. I'll make my move after the breakthrough. Yi Xian thought to himself. A few days later. Ding! The host has made a breakthrough. The host is now a 3rd grade half-step immortal. Ding! The World Devastator Ghostly Dragon, Wei Zhentian, Yanming Ghostly Lord, and Sky-Breaking Divine Ape have made a breakthrough. The host is now a 7th grade half-step immortal. At this moment, Yi Xian was preparing to leave. The Green Feather sect had also undergone many changes. The sect leader had left and Spiritual Master Ling Xin, the vice-sect leader, had become the official sect leader. In the future, the Green Feather sect would become more prosperous under his leadership. However, just as Yi Xian was preparing to leave quietly. Senior, please wait. Suddenly, someone called out to Yi Xian. Yi Xian heard the voice and turned his head to look. He found that the person was Ling Muyun. Ling Muyun used to be Yi Xian's senior brother. However, after the bet battle, he no longer dared to call Yi Xian his junior brother. In his opinion, Yi Xian was a reclusive expert or someone with a powerful background. Otherwise, how could he have such a powerful helper? What's the matter? Yi Xian asked in surprise. Senior, are you leaving? Ling Muyun asked. Yes. Yi Xian nodded. Then, Ling Muyun took out something from his interspatial ring. It was something that caught Yi Xian's interest. The Dragon Bone of Annihilation? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. What was Ling Muyun trying to do with the Dragon Bone of Annihilation that belonged to the Ling family? Senior, my father asked me to bring this to you. Ling Muyun said. Give it to me. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard that. To be honest, he wanted to accept it very much. However, the Dragon Bone of Annihilation could only increase the strength of the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon by 2%. However, it was a priceless treasure to the Green Feather sect. It could allow them to grow quickly. This thing is useless to me. Take it back. Yi Xian shook his head and left. Ling Muyun was stunned. The previous incident was caused by the Dragon Bone of Annihilation. However, Yi Xian only glanced at it. He was indeed an expert. Under other circumstances, Yi Xian would definitely accept the Dragon Bone of Annihilation if someone gave it to him. However, The Ling family was related to Spiritual Heart Venerable, and he came to the Holy World through Spiritual Heart Venerable's ruins. Hence, he decided to forget about it. A dragon bone of annihilation was only worth 10 dragon scales of annihilation. The Green Feather Sect Master had several Black Dragon Sect branches under him. If he robbed them, it would not be a problem for him to get dozens of dragon scales. Chapter 1828. Yi Xian didn't plan to loot the branches. Instead, he planned to find a place to complete the mission for the title of Divine Beast Envoy. The mission required him to kill 10,000 sage-level immortal beasts, and they couldn't be of the same species. Although it seemed simple, it wasn't. Fortunately, Yi Xian had several helpers, so he should only need a little time to complete the mission. Of course, Yi Xian didn't want to waste time, so he sent Old Tree on his way. This way, he could complete the mission while looting the branches of the Black Dragon Sect. The minimum requirement for the mission was a rank 1 sage-level immortal beast. Thus, Yi Xian didn't need to find rank 5 or rank 6 sage-level immortal beasts. He randomly found a dangerous area and killed his way in. 10, 100, 1,000. In just one day, Yi Xian destroyed the dangerous area. When he left, there wasn't a single sage-level immortal beast left. During this time, Old Tree also arrived at a branch of the Black Dragon Sect. Yi Xian immediately tore through the void and went there. With his current strength, he could easily destroy these branches. However, these branches' world-destroying dragon scales had been handed over to the sect master of the Green Feather Sect. The sect master of the Green Feather Sect had also handed them over to his superiors. Thus, he didn't gain much. After destroying several branches, the world-destroying ghost dragon's battle prowess only increased by 5%. However, this wasn't bad. After all, the current 5% was equivalent to the previous 25%. In a few days, the mission for the Divine Beast Envoy was about to be completed. He only needed to kill 300 more immortal beasts to complete the mission. At this time, Yi Xian had killed his way from a low-level sage level to a mid-level sage level dangerous area. There were immortal beasts comparable to rank 4, rank 5, and rank 6 sage level immortal beasts. However, just as Yi Xian was about to complete the mission, roar! Suddenly, a roar resounded through the sky and entered Yi Xian's ears. Yi Xian immediately turned his head to look and saw a black figure madly running towards him. The ground shook violently because of this large figure. Is this a wingless black dragon? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. He estimated that this black dragon's strength was around that of a 5th stage true sage. However, beasts were much easier to deal with compared to humans for Yi Xian. Luo, kill it! Yi Xian immediately gave Luo the order. Wearing the mystic divine battle armor, Luo's battle prowess was also very strong. After all, she was already an 8th stage half-step true person. Coincidentally, there were already 9,999 types of missions for the title of Master Beast Envoy. He only needed one more beast bloodline to complete the mission. In the past, Yi Xian had always killed whoever he saw. He would not look for different bloodlines. However, he was certain that this strange black dragon without wings was definitely one of them. Soon, Luo and the black dragon began to fight. Surprisingly, Luo's attacks were only able to cause light injuries to the black dragon. Something's fishy. Yi Xian frowned slightly. Luo's attacks were very strong. Even a 5th stage true sage would not be able to withstand them, let alone this black dragon. However, her full-powered attack could only barely break the black dragon's scales. Young master, this black dragon has the world destruction dragon scales. Luo suddenly transmitted her voice back. When Yi Xian heard it, he could not help but tremble. A black dragon had the world destruction dragon scales? How was that possible? Wasn't the world destruction dragon scales the black destruction dragon scales? Could this black dragon be? While he was still in shock, Luo continued. However, these dragon scales are much weaker than the world destruction dragon scales. This black dragon must have swallowed the world destruction dragon scales. Who knows, it might even have the world destruction dragon bones in its body. That's good. You're giving us benefits again. Yi Xian grinned. However, this black dragon's strength was a problem. Thus, Yi Xian directly summoned the sky-splitting divine ape. With the help of the sky-splitting divine ape, it would be difficult for this black dragon to survive. As expected, once the sky-splitting divine ape appeared, Coupled with Wei Zhentian's mystic divine armor, the black dragon's head was smashed into a bloody mess. However, it was not dead yet. Heaven-shaking 108 strikes. The sky-splitting divine ape did not show any mercy. It smashed down with its pole again and again. Soon, the black dragon was killed. Ding. Host's killing intent has increased. Ding. Host has completed the Divine Beast Envoy title mission. Will you immediately change to the Dragon Slayer title? Yes. The moment the black dragon died, a notification sounded in Yi Xian's mind. The Divine Beast Envoy title mission was finally completed. After Yi Xian was equipped with the Divine Beast Envoy title, Luoluo and the other's strength doubled again. In addition, Yi Xian, Old Tree, Luoluo, and the others' attacks would triple in damage to beasts. If they had the Divine Beast Envoy title just now, Luoluo would definitely be able to kill this black dragon alone without the need for Patian. However, just as Yi Xian was pleasantly surprised, 3 figures suddenly passed by above his head. This black dragon actually has the world-ending dragon scale on its body. Maybe it also has the world-ending dragon bone? Tisk tsk. I heard that the White Dragon Palace is purchasing the world-ending dragon scale and dragon bone. This is going to be a huge profit. This little girl and the little monkey are quite strong. They can actually kill this black dragon. The 3 people's discussion fell into Yi Xian's ears. The White Dragon Palace is purchasing the world-ending dragon scale and dragon bone? What kind of power is this? How dare they buy it so brazenly? Moreover, what is the relationship between the White Dragon Palace and the Black Dragon sect? Without waiting for Yi Xian to finish his thoughts, the 3 people directly attacked, preparing to snatch the black dragon's corpse. How dare you steal Yi Xian's things? Kill them! Yi Xian immediately ordered Luoluo and the sky-splitting divine ape. These 3 people were only 5th-grade true masters. Their strength was not very strong. They had just arrived, so they did not know the strength of Luoluo and the sky-splitting divine ape. In this way they would be courting death. Claw of the Demon God. 108 shocking strikes. Luoluo and the sky-splitting divine ape quickly counterattacked. The sky-splitting divine ape's attack power and attack speed were so fast that one person's body exploded in an instant. What? The other 2 people were shocked. They hurriedly stopped and then quickly retreated. You want to escape? Have you asked for my permission? Yi Xian widened his eyes. After killing the black dragon and the 5th-grade true master, Yi Xian condensed 5 slaughter seals. 6 slaughter seals immediately erupted. Immortal Slaying Puppet. The immortal slaying puppet summoned by the 6 slaughter seals was not to be underestimated. Bang! With a single move, the immortal puppet cut off the path of retreat of the 2 fleeing cultivators.